Thank you, Maisie. A history-making night at the MCG as Collingwood champion Scott Pendlebury becomes the 6th player to reach the 400-game milestone. The Magpies' premiership defence is hanging by a thread. After a victory over Richmond last week, the inclusion of McCleary, DeGoey and Frampton after they ended a 4-game losing streak last week. While Carlton, well, they'd be happy to spoil the party, having lost 3 of their last 4. They're boasted by the return of Akers, Mackay, Boyd and Jack Martin for just the second time in 2024. For the Blues, the carrot is they can finish the round anywhere from 2nd to 8th position on the AFL ladder. Matt Clinch with you for ABC Sport. Brett Sprigg to call the action alongside me. Welcome, Spriggy.
G'day, Clinchy. Especially one at the footy, isn't it? Because of course, this rivalry. As always, Collingwood-Carlton always brings a massive crowd. There is the Scott Pendlebury factor as well, that bit of history, as well as what it means for the Pies season you mentioned. Massive game for both sides, really, but can't wait.
The equation is pretty simple for Collingwood. They need to keep winning in order to make September. It all starts tonight, and then Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne as the Blues make their way out onto the MCG. And Jack Martin, in just his 2nd game of 2024, he celebrates game 150. His 11th year in the competition with 6 at the Suns and 5 at the Blues. Your experts tonight on ABC Sport, the 300 game St Kilda champion, the Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke is here. Welcome, Burkey.
Hello, Matthew. Hello, Spriggy and Kez. Great night tonight. I caught the train in. I thought I'd soak up the atmosphere, got out at South Yarra and walked the extra bit, and goodness me, it's a great atmosphere out there. There's blue and white and black and white as far as the eye can see, so it has that real finals feel about it.
And AFLW captain with the Blues, Karen Peterson, is here. Welcome to you, Kez.
G'day, Clinchy. Hello, team. It's not often I come to these games sitting in this seat that I'm nervous, but I tell you what, I'm shaken in anticipation as much as nervous about the result, I suppose. But what a great night for footy. I can't wait for this one.
So what are we expecting? So much on the line for both sides. We're expecting a crowd of somewhere between 80 to 90,000. Don't have to go too far down memory lane. 2022 when the Pies denied Carlton a chance to feature in the finals in the final round of the home and away season, coming from 25 points down. And while the Blues featured in September last year, it's a great opportunity for Carlton to get one back against their arch rivals, Kez.
Well, and you don't have to think too far back. It was round 8 when Dacos broke the hearts of Carlton supporters this season as well. So besides the 150-odd year history between these two clubs, the recent history is as intriguing as anything. And there's a bit of ill feeling between these supporter groups, as we all know, and the players alike. And there's a lot to be said for this one.
So the past 15 results, the margin's not gone beyond 29 points, which is extraordinary. But the Pies have won 4 of the past 5, 9 of the past 11 against their big rivals. So that's all that factor as well.
Berkey, for someone of Scott Pendlebury's eras, the Magpies banner is lofted and they're just moments away from making their way out on the MCG. So we'll just pause for a second as Scott Pendlebury will lead out the Magpies, the former captain, in game 400. And what a set of accolades he has. Pick 5 back in 2005, the 5-time Copeland Trophy medal winner, 6-time All-Australian, 3 Anzac Day medals, the 2010 Norm Smith medalist, and a 2-time premiership player. And there's quite an army who's gathered either side of the race. There must be at least sort of 40 fans and family who have made their way out, and Scott Pendlebury with his 2 children and his wife is there as he gets to the top of the race and the fireworks into the night sky, and the Magpies make their way out onto the MCG. Some hugs and kisses for all those who have been a part of the journey. He spoke about his mum and dad having made the trip from Sale up to Victoria and have done so many kilometres in helping him achieve his sporting dream. So Scott Pendlebury breaks through the banner in game 400. He becomes the 6th AFL VFL player to do so. So following in the footsteps of Brett Harvey, Michael Tuck, Sean Burgoyne, Kevin Bartlett and Dustin Fletcher. He is black and white royalty, and there's no denying now with the accolades of the games records for the Pies. He is the greatest ever Magpie we've seen. Nathan Burke, can the Pies rise to the occasion?
Well, hopefully they can. If they haven't got enough inspiration from the guy running out having 400 games and 6-time All-Australian and in the conversation for the best Magpie ever, it's not certainly not up to me to say whether he is or not. That's up to the Magpie people. But 90,000 people here at the MCG. The games, this is their season on the line. If they lose this one, they've got Sydney next week. The Pies are done. So, that all on the line for them. Whereas you look at Carlton, very similar. They're sitting, in 4th spot at the moment, but if they lose tonight, potentially 5 teams can go past them this weekend. and that puts them right in that danger zone. So I cannot remember a game, a regular season game, that has more on the line than this one, and that's why we've got a big crowd here, and I'm sure a lot of people listening as well, and we'll do our best to bring it all to you.
We spoke earlier in the day on AFL Saturday with Mick Moldhouse and Luke Ball, and I think it was Bally who made the comment, I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Pendlebury goes to Patrick Cripps tonight. It's a role in which he's played, and he's one of the key playmakers for the Blues. What are a couple of the matchups you're looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, probably that one. He does play the defensive midfield role really well, and by that I'm not saying he goes and tags the opposition, but he's the one who's staying behind at the contest to make sure the other team don't get out the front. He's the one, as soon as it spreads and goes forward, he's not the one just shooting off forward of the footy. He's the one sitting behind the footy playing that defensive role. So whether they add a little bit of a closeness to Cripps to it, that would be against the way that he normally plays. So I doubt that will actually happen, but you never know. They might just want to say, hey, here's a job for you, take away all the thoughts about contribution to the team, just stop this bloke from getting a kick, and I'm sure whatever role you throw at him, he'd do it 110%, Tess.
Yeah, I agree completely. I don't think they'll shift their midfield mix around too much to unless Cripps or Walsh get on top and really start to dominate. I think the interesting one for mine is going to be Nick Dacos and what Carlton do with him. Cincotta's probably the most likely one to go to him. Dacos has really put Carlton to the sword the last couple of times that they've played, so I wouldn't be surprised. I was trying to rack my brain and work out when that move of Cincotta going to that tagging role was made. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I don't think it was made before Carlton played Collingwood in round 8. I think it eventuated after that, so that may be something that we see pretty early on in the game, and just see if they can get under his skin, Dacos, and try and stop him having a massive influence tonight. But other than that, I think the Curnow-Moore matchup is going to be really interesting. Whether Moore stays there all game or goes to Harry Mackay at some point, how that plays out, I'm going to be really fascinated to watch as well.
And the Blues were far from their best last week, Kez, I don't have to tell you, but managing just 1 goal 5 after half-time against Port Adelaide. So they are bolstered by the return of Harry Mackay. Jack Martin comes in for his second game of the season, but for Michael Voss, he'd want to see a little bit more of what they saw in the first half of the season with the free-flowing footy which Carlton has become so known for. As Scott Pendlebury's face is on the big screen, that is the cheer as the ground announcer runs through the Collingwood players and the number 10 is mentioned.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? The Carlton team would be really disappointed with their performance last week. They had every excuse in the world off the 5-day break, and they've played some pretty ordinary football over the last month, only having the 1 win. Collingwood obviously only having the 1 win from 5 games. So it's a really interesting story to this, given how much hype is around this game and what's on the line for both teams. Both teams aren't actually in particularly good form that they would be expecting for this time of year. So I'm just really interested to see which of these teams wants to take the aggressive mode early, and as you mentioned, that run and gun game that Carlton was known for in the first half of the year, particularly off the back line. That's where they seem to generate a lot of it. Zach Williams going forward in the last probably 6 or 7 weeks has been a bit of a different look for them as well, and has taken that run and bounce. Obviously Sard's going to play an important role with that tonight, and conversely for Collingwood, throwing their weight around the contest, getting on top, DeGoey coming back in tonight is going to add another element for them as well. So it's kind of strange to say, but I don't think recent form is going to play a huge part in what happens tonight. But both teams are going to be obviously very keen to get their seasons back on track and playing the football that they're known for. And I suppose particularly Collingwood, with how much is on the line for them, as Berkey's already mentioned tonight, if they lose tonight, they're probably done. You can probably put a nail in the coffin for them. So it's going to be hot early.
Jordan De Goey returns for his 13th game of the season. He's had some groin issues. Comes in for his first game since round 19. And just watching the Magpies warm up at the moment, he is warming up with the forwards as opposed to the midfielders. So 8 goals, 8 for the season. Berkey might be a different role for him tonight.
Yeah, he's just got to play well. As simple as that. Stop trying to hide him and do all these different things with him. He's a very talented player. We know that. He's a game changer when he's up and about. So he's just got to bring that tonight. Collingwood need that. And you can't be hiding these great players in really important games like this.
If you want to share the night with us on the SMS 0437 774 774, Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg to call the action. Karen Peterson and Nathan Berkey are experts, with Rory Campbell down on the boundary. You mentioned, Kaz, the form of these two sides. Well, it's such an even season. North Melbourne winning by 13 points earlier today against Richmond. So they're now a game clear off the bottom of the ladder, with Nick Larkey leading the way with 5 goals and Geelong prevailing by 5 points over Adelaide, with Josh Rochelle kicking a goal with under 30 seconds to go to pull the Crows within a goal, but the Cats are able to hang on. So it feels like everyone's form has fluctuated at one stage or another. Sydney at one stage were 3 games clear on top, now a game and a half, and as we enter a sprint, the final month of the season, there is so much still to try and work out.
I'm smirking, Clinchy, because I feel like we say this every year. I don't remember a race as tight as this, towards the finals, but I genuinely, I can't remember in my lifetime. Berkey, you've been around much longer than I have, so you can comment on this after, but I don't remember a night where you're 3 games out from the start of a finals campaign. You've got 2 teams like what we have in front of us tonight with so much on the line. And if Carlton, they can finish somewhere between 2nd and 8th. Like the dramatic nature of the results at the moment, and we're all just sitting here on the edge of our seat watching the Geelong result, because that would have completely thrown another spanner in the works as well. And obviously with Sydney's form, who were 6 weeks ago out and outright favourite, they're not looking like that at the moment. So it's a really open race, which clearly makes it very exciting for all supporter groups that are still involved. And you mentioned North Melbourne. Are North Melbourne supporters happy or not happy, Berkey? Because
I told you yesterday they blew number 1 pick last year, and they would do it again, and they have. But my daughter did actually tell me she was playing around with the ladder predictor yesterday, and the Saints are still a chance. So funny things have happened this year. Maybe not that hilarious, but
we'll keep one eye on Port Adelaide and Sydney as well. That will be a massive game as far as the top 4 consequences are concerned, and top 8.
Yes, good point. And as you mentioned, St Kilda and Brisbane to close out the weekend's footy on Sunday afternoon. The Lions are one of the informed sides, and Spriggy will be together tomorrow for Essendon and Fremantle. So GWS and Hawthorn, there's so many matches that feel like 8-point games. And I guess for the Blues fans, they think it's been an up and down season, but we've been consistent for so long. And I guess with a big win tonight, they could reaffirm their position as one of the main challengers in season 2024. So the Magpies warming up at the city end of the MCG. The Blues have situated at centre-half forward at the punt road end. The Blues in their traditional navy blue with the white shorts, and Collingwood in their black and white stripes and the black shorts. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Phil from Victoria, congrats to Pendles. He certainly is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. He's just a great Pies player. And from Annie, who's a Blues fan, terrific call, guys. I'm a neutral tonight, hoping, though, to see a Carlton win. Well, I'm not sure how you can be neutral and hoping for a Carlton win, but I did enjoy reading the story about his mum and dad who made the trek from Sale, the sports mad family. Scott was the third of the middle of 3 boys who turned his back on basketball and decided that he was going to be a professional AFL footy player, and had the post-it notes on the bedroom wall. And hasn't he just developed throughout his playing career, and now the father of 2 children. And he's out there in the middle as we can head down to the boundary. The final member of our team is Rory Campbell. Welcome to you, Rory.
Good evening, everyone. Patrick Cripps has just put an early spoiler on the Scott Pendlebury party. He's won the toss, and the Blues will kick to the city end this evening. Real celebratory festival-type atmosphere down here. We were serenaded by a guitar soloist to the Beatles' Let It Be, but he replaced the lyrics with Pendlebury earlier. Scott Pendlebury ran out to fireworks, so definitely a really festival-type atmosphere down here. Clear evening. There's been a little bit of cloud around through the day, but that's cleared up. A little bit of dew on the surface. Not expecting any rain, so no reason we can't have some hot footy here tonight.
Thanks, Rory. Looking forward to your contributions throughout the night. So Ben Henry was the acoustic guitar who performed Pendlebury to the sound of Let It Be, and supposedly Spriggy did it in WA, and it went down such a hit in the change rooms. The boys were singing along that they thought, we just need you for the occasion.
Yes, they got him across for it, which is fantastic, and it is very catchy. I've got that, when you find yourself in deep congestion. Stuck in my head, but anyway, we'll see if they can carry on here with a win.
And the punchline was his bottle of wine is over $150, so he's not giving him out for free. Kez and Berkey, a final tip?
Carlton by 12 for me.
Oh, even it out. Magpies by 13.
I'll say the Pies. I think the occasion is theirs, but it's going to be an amazing game.
Yeah, the Blues for me. So all in readiness, a history-making night for Scott Pendlebury. Becomes the 6th player to record 400 AFL games, and Collingwood looking to keep their premiership defence alive. While for the Blues, it's a chance to spoil the party. Round 21 of the AFL, Collingwood and Carlton. Here's Brett Sprigg on ABC Sport.
As they celebrate an exceptional player, this result looms as existential in their season, Collingwood. The clearance goes away the Blues, though. Cripps to Walsh. Quick to the outer wing. Back with the flight, Sidebottom. Knocked down there by Owies. First touch there for Nick Dacos on the wing. Back to the veteran, Sidebottom. Skids it towards half forward. Picked up down there by Newman of the Blues. Underground hand pass. Kept moving now. Hewitt spins out of a tackle. Gets it back to his skipper, Cripps. Lofty hand pass forward again. Out to meet the football. Hollands. It's Ollie Hollands who sees it out of bounds for a throw-in southern side of the MCG. No score inside the opening 40 seconds.
Pendlebury is starting in the centre bounce. Not tagging him on, but he has gone to Cripps at the stoppage.
Darcy Moore alongside the Coleman middle Lenny. Carlton forward, Charlie Curnow as it's thrown back in on the outer side wing. Knocked down by Pitnet, has a second go at it, can't clear it. Nick Dacos gets it to Scott Pendlebury, who breaks out of a tackle, lost the footy. He just soccers it off the deck though. Gets Collingwood to half forward. Elliott runs onto it, Wiedering comes out, and the kick is too wide for Daniel McStay, out of bounds on the full. Free kick going the way of the Blues in the left back pocket, and it will be Mitch McGovern who will take it.
It's another one last week. Kaz and Berkey, Dan McStay, 3 goals in his return. Very important player for the Pies up forward.
Yeah, miraculous comeback from a short rehab of an ACL.
Here's Wiedering under pressure, coming late with the tackle. Down there McCreary, loose footy picked up by Mason Cox. High ball back to full forward. Sard tracks it back with the flight. And they'll start again from fullback here, the Blues. Works it toward the outer side where he finds Newman at half back. He measures his kick on the bounce here for his skipper, Cripps. Looks to go by hand, shapes the kick, moves back inside John Noble, and now kicks to find Hewitt on the outer side of the MCG.
He looks up further afield, around the boundary line to Charlie Curnow, who leads out in front of Darcy Moore. Between wing and half forward on the Shane Warne stand side, inside 50, here comes Mackay. He marks down low in front of Frampton. Deep in the left forward pocket, 45 metres out, 5 metres from the boundary.
How often do we see that where Charlie gets up the ground, and it's a great thing for his teammates to get involved early because he can be such a great ball user. His eyes just light up as soon as Harry starts running at him, so a great start for the Blues. Charlie up the ground, Harry deep. This will get his confidence nice and high if he can slot this through.
It was a late withdrawal last week with illness, having had the concussion knocked the week before. But Harry Mackay is back in the left forward pocket for the opening goal of the match. It's across the face of goal. Howe flies, knocks it into the field of play, and Noble frantically rushes it through for a minor score. The Blues with the first behind. Collingwood yet to score. 2.5 minutes gone on ABC Sport.
Here's Jeremy Howe, a milestone coming his way next week. His 250th. As they go beyond the defensive 50 now. Front mentions the kick to the outer side. Mike Bobby Hill on the outer side again. Goes deep inside forward 50. Jamie Elliott with the flight. Really makes the contest. Loose ball in the pocket. Sliding in Sard. Affects it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Deep at right full forward. Punt right into the MCG. Still no score here. The Pies and the Blues on ABC Sport. 2.5 minutes in.
Well done by Wiedering. He had a player behind him, player in front of him. He positioned himself perfectly for the long kick over the top. Managed to make the spoil and get the ball out of bounds. So 2 on 1. Well done.
Hewitt's gone to Nick Dacos. Chincotta's alongside Bobby Hill, who's on the move from this throw-in. Can't gather it. It spills away on McGovern for Carlton. Clearing kick up towards half-back. Harry Mackay, arms outstretched, can't take the mark. Nick Dacos onto it. Hand pass to Pendlebury at 60. Links up with Josh Dacos. Inside 50 to the goal line. Mitch McGovern juggles the mark. Up against the left behind post. He chips it out to Akers, who marks in the right back pocket for the Blues. Carlton by a point on ABC Sport.
One of their 4 inclusions, Blake Akers. Another key pillar back in the side this week for the Blues. Bombs it long beyond defensive 50. Out to the members' wing. Up goes Curnow. Late Quainer makes the contest. At the drop of McCreary. Spent it before he had it. Going in hard now for the Magpies. Crisp tries to get it clear. The umpire says, give it to me at left half forward for the Pies. But it's Carlton who have the first behind of the game. 4.5 minutes played, ABC Sport, in front of the packed MCG. Down it comes by Cameron. Carlton can clear, though. That kick from Newman just chisels its way towards the members' wing. Moore comes out to beat the football. Now overrun it, though, as Walsh gets a hand pass away. There was a high tackle in there. It will be a free kick going the way of the Magpies skipper.
Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, opening goal the way of Port Adelaide against Sydney. There is an ABC call available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra button. We'll keep you across it, of course, of the MCG. Darcy Moore, the Collingwood captain, up towards half forward. Cox in the pack, but a great mark taken Flying in from the side. Kemp marks at right half back. Sends the Blues up the members' wing. Patrick Cripps has space. He marks, wants to try and get it to Curnow quickly. Jeremy Howe made up ground late, makes the spoil. And then Darcy Moore dumped in a tackle by Curnow. Umpire circles and will pull it up in front of the members. Carlton by a point.
Right on by Howe. He left his player, came up and saw Curnow all by himself. Curnow marks that. There's a fair chance the Blues having a shot for goal.
Down it comes and over it goes for a throw-in once more. The only score of the game is a behind Carlton's way. I mentioned those relatively tight results. So we haven't gone beyond 5 goals in the past 15 occasions, but 3 of the past 5 by a goal or less, which is extraordinary. This historic rivalry. Back in it comes. Pitt now uncontested in the ruck, but it's down towards Nick Dacos. He can send his kick back down the line. Elliott marks up in front of Sard. In fact, no, spills the grab. Fires the hand pass wide to Pendlebury. Here he is in his 400th. Off that left foot now. It goes inside 50. It's intercepted, though. Back there deep is McGovern, who's swinging across the defensive goal.
Wants to swing it quickly because he has Ollie Hollands free. He looks through the middle of the ground. Risky kick. It got past the fingertips of Noble. Fogarty marks. Hand pass forward to Akers. Hand pass away. Trying to run the gauntlet. Owies. Tackle brought down. No whistle. Noble at centre half back for Collingwood. A quick clearing kick. One direction Cripps. The other to Goey. They bump into each other. Spills out the way of Collingwood. Bytel gets the hand pass away. To Goey trying to break the tackle of Cripps. The shout to ball not rewarded. Noble tackled. Surely we're not in possession. Still no whistle. And Cripps gets a hand pass forward. Fogarty just knocks it to Hewitt. Kicks it end over end inside 50. Howe can't take it cleanly for Collingwood. Gathered by Pitnet. Kick smothered. Side bottoms hand pass towards the boundary line. And Josh Dacos takes it out in the right forward pocket as the Carlton fans make their presence known. They thought there were a couple whistles there.
Yeah, the crowd need to understand that the umpires, with the big crowd, have decided to umpire finals like. So in the finals, you've got to earn your free kicks. It's a lot tougher, and that's what they're doing tonight, and it's good to see.
Does feel finals like here at a packed MCG. Back in it comes. 7 going first term. Carlton by the only point of the game. Pitnet tackled, lost the football. Gathered down there again by Jack Martin, and now it's going to be balled up again inside 50 at the city end. That's the end that Carlton are attacking. Umpire wastes no time. One down here again. As player was being held that time, it will be a free kick going the way of George Hewitt, who was held without the football. So a former Swan goes back and takes his set shot here from 45 out in the 45-degree angle.
Yeah, just had the one arm held before the ball came. He actually caught the ball and handballed it off, but good umpiring. Saw the arm was being held. Lining
up here for the first goal of the game. The ball has spent most of its time inside their attacking half here, the Blues. It's across the goal mouth. Spoil from Howe. Down here, they can try to clear through Nick Dacos. High up and under it goes. Carlton with numbers. It's marked by Mackay. Well watched. Controls the ball to his chest. And he'll take a set shot from 40 out, almost directly in front.
A good grab by Mackay running with a fight of the football, and there was probably about a dozen players in the vicinity, but it was he and Kemp, the two Carlton players, who really were the keenest to go and mark it. No Collingwood player actually went up and contested against them.
He kicked 4 goals last time these sides met in around 8. With a good recent form against the Pies. Harry Mackay starts at left, not coming back enough. So early couple of behinds for Harry Mackay. It's Carlton 2 behinds. Collingwood yet to score. 9 gone first term. ABC Sport at the MCG.
Jeremy Howe looks to bring Collingwood back into play. Got a block from Frampton to get around Curnow. Drives it out the member side. Not a great spinning kick out towards Cameron. Spoiled away by Akers. Down to Cripps inside 50. Curnow in front. Moore makes the spoil. It's locked to Charlie Curnow's chest as he's tackled by Howe and Noble. And the umpire will throw it up 35 metres out from the Blues goal. The city end. It's a lot of attacking for the Blues.
Up it goes. Palmed down by Cameron. He was tackled. Going in hard Motlop. And now the umpire balled up again.
They'll be happy with this, the Blues. Just repeat stoppages inside 50. Starting to look dangerous. You watch Jesse Motlop around this stoppage get on the move.
Voice of Blues skipper Karen Peterson on it. ABC Sport. Down it comes here. The snap from Elijah Hollands. Curls it around deep to the goal square. Now it's off hands and through for a minor score. So Carlton the first 3 behinds of the game. The Pies yet to score. 10 gone first term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
As once more, Jeremy Howe brings Collingwood back into play, into the back pocket for Maynard. Hard against the boundary. Looks up the members wing. Cameron the target. Wiedering in from the side. A decisive fist, which some of the Carlton fans below us lean over the fence in applause. That's the type of defence they want to see from the number 23.
With Paddy Cripps just coming for a well-earned rest. He's up to 6 possessions already. Nick Dacos with 5 leads the Magpies.
Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Brett Spruik calling the action. On the boundary, Rory Campbell. As a little volley from Nick Dacos goes out on the full. So the free kick will go Carlton's way, and Sam Walsh looks set to take it. As the 10th minute of the match, a round of applause from the Collingwood fans for Scott Pendlebury in game 400. The Magpies champion. Although Carlton at half-back are under pressure. McGovern a little fumble. Big Mason Cox trying to put the pressure on. Wiedering just fends him off. Finds a way out of defence. Switches to Boyd, who marks it right half-back.
And the long sleeves at half-back. Now sends it wide back to Walsh. And takes a comfortable mark, and they can start to come back up this members' side, the Blues. 3 behind's their score. Collingwood yet to score so far on this Saturday night at the MCG. Coming in board now to Chera.
It's obvious Carlton, whenever they get it, they're looking sideways, especially in the back half of the ground.
Chera spears his kick down the line. A little too deep down there for Hewitt, and it goes out of bounds for a throw in attacking side of the wing.
And Mason Cox knew that in that last passage of play. He was the one who rushed. I think it was McGovern at half-back, and he just put the pressure on him. McGovern made an unforced error because of the perceived pressure that Cox put on him. So he's well and truly awake to it, Cox.
Kes Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Pitnet wins down the tap, trying to find Walsh. Cameron intercepts, hand pass to Pendlebury. Links up with Bytel. Little chip kick into the middle of the ground. That works out okay for Long. Gets the hand pass to Josh Dacos. Wheels onto his right-hand side. Up towards Tekoe at half forward. In front, Mitch McGovern palms it down. Now it's Newman's problem as he's tackled. Spills out to Kemp. Somehow got it to Boyd. He kicks through the middle of the MCG. Curnow got a favourable bounce. It clears Darcy Moore. Curnow races after it. Frampton the other way. Frampton knocks it out, but straight to Fogarty. He's kicked partially smothered. Noble for Collingwood. Hand pass to Josh Dacos to Maynard through the gauntlet. He turns it over. Chincotta for the Blues. Hand pass almost picked off by Pendlebury. Newman to Akers. He's shoved off it.
Hack forward here by Carlton towards half forward. Frampton under pressure as well. Walsh gets into the back of him. He's given away the free kick. But too high.
That was scrappy and ugly, and the ball was running through multiple players, but it's good to watch.
Willie Frampton, one of 18 premiership players from last year, back in the side this week. Sends it back up the members' wing. Big leap from Mitch McGovern, but he was under the football, and there will be a free kick going Collingwood's way. It was into the back of Darcy Cameron.
It was up for that long, I said, 3 times.
Here's Josh Dacos bursting by, steers the pass inside 50. McCreary leads and marks in the pocket. 40 out. In fact, it's going to be Will Hoskin-Elliott who's marked deep in the left forward pocket. And he'll take his set shot here just beyond the boundary line at the punt road end.
It's a great example of getting the ball in the best ball user's hands. Hit Dacos, and Hoskin-Elliott just into paddock of space in the pocket. He was just able to hit him. So really well played by Collingwood.
Kicked a couple of goals against the Tigers last week. Hoskin-Elliott opens up the angle. Sends it across the face of goal. Up in the pocket where it's marked defensively by Mackay. Still remains Carlton 3 behind. The Pies yet to score. 13 gone first term, ABC Sport.
As he goes short to Nick Newman at the punt road end, the Blues hemmed in defence, leading by 3 points. Newman through the middle of the ground, goes to the kick. Can he get it to Fogarty? Spoiled down in the end by Chris. Josh Dacos, hand pass forward to Schultz. Links up with Nick Dacos, trying to break the Kemp tackle. Hand pass to McCreary, nowhere for him to go. He's locked up just inside the attacking 50-yard.
You can see what
would get a stoppage, Berkey.
Sorry, mate. You can see what the Blues are doing. They're keeping the ball out of the Magpies' hands. Uncontested marks are 20-3 in favour of the Blues.
Deep in attack for the Magpies. Cameron plays in front of Mackay. They'll clear here the Blues through Chow. Ricochets back towards Walsh. He just extends his kick down the line. Wobbles down towards Curnow. Quainer makes the tackle on him on the low go. He gives away the free kick for too high. Curnow wheels and goes quickly. Goes and just skids that ball in the pocket. Wide here looking for Cottrell, who's happy to see it out of bounds for a throw-in just inside 50 at the city end of the MCG. It remains still no goals in this game. Carlton 3 behind. Collingwood yet to score. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide 2-2-14 to Sydney yet to score. As it's thrown back into play. Mackay and Cameron. Cameron palms it down to the front. Martin on the move. Gathers to the Blues. Hand pass to Elijah Hollands. Hand pass to Cripps. Through traffic. Found a way through to Boyd. Fires on goal. It's coming back left to right. Not enough. the opening 4 behinds of the match the way of the Blues. Through 14 minutes on ABC Sport, Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Adam Saad has just returned to the field. He was getting some treatment on the bench to his groin, but he appears to be all good to go. Patrick Lipinski for the Pies and Matt Kennedy for the Blues, our substitutes this evening. Both coaches calling the shots from the bench.
Moore kicks out beyond defensive 50. By the way, you mentioned the coach. So Michael Voss played in Pendlebury's very first game back in 2006, Collingwood v Brisbane. That was Michael Voss's last year as a player. Of course, here he is tonight as the opposing coach in that milestone game. Bossing the tackle here is Darcy Cameron. He sends his kick towards the boundary, and that was not well disguised. As such, it will be deliberate and a Carlton ball on centre wing member's side.
Turns and comes inboard. Jamie Elliott takes the intercepting mark. Got it down to Nick Dacos. His brother, Josh Dacos, slipped over trying to get the hand pass to him. Elliott, little toe poke, looking for Crisp in the middle of the ground. Motlop bumps him off it. Saad gathers, kicks up towards half forward. A bouncing ball in front of Maynard and Jack Martin off the outside of the boot. Maynard's able to pull his kick and finds Steele side bottom at right half back. Up the Shane Warne stand wing with a kick to Hoskin Elliott. Collingwood in full flight. A hand pass to Noble. They're out here as Hill marks just inside the boundary in the right forward pocket. Having lost Chincotta. He's where the boundary line meets the 50-metre arc, and this is a tough shot.
He wasn't the only one that lost his opponent all the way up the ground. Hoskin Elliott found some space. Noble found some space. So caught the Carlton defenders on the hop then and were able to transition from one end to the other without too much trouble.
The Norm Smith medalist is up against the fence where the Collingwood fans can lean over and offer advice. Still searching for the opening goal of the match, 16 minutes in. Bobby Hill from 50 against the boundary. It's right all the way. And a minor score. Collingwood's first score, they're 1 behind. To Carlton 4 behind, 16 minutes gone. Here's Brett Sprigg.
Blues waste no time with the kick out now. Comes in to find Elijah Hollands. Now beyond defensive 50 to Motlop. Opts to play on. Umpire was wise to him. Does call him to play on. Now Cottrell marks on the outer side. Lays off the hand pass. Chera running by. Off a step. Kicks inside 50. Onto the Cripps lead. And he's 48 out. Deep in that left forward pocket. Slows things down here, Paddy Cripps. He's now the outright Brownlow favourite. Looking to repeat the achievement of 2 years ago. And he may look to have a shot here for goal.
I don't reckon he's got the leg here, Sprigg. I reckon he's going to be setting this up. You can see Mackay and Owies just starting to get together.
Cripps on the approach. Dances to 52. Sends it on its way and it misses near side. So it just carried through for a minor score. Left-hand side of the posts. It's the Blues who are 5 behinds now. Magpies just the 1, so still no goals here. 18 gone, first term.
Howe straight down the middle. A beautiful kick to Josh Dacos. Through the middle, a hand pass to Jamie Elliott. Breaks away from Kemp. They're out here. Hoskin Elliott right half forward. He has 30 metres inside 50 to Goey. That might be the best end-to-end we've seen all season. And where were the Blues? As Jordan Goey marks millimetres out. He just has to deal with the angle.
Berkey, I can't work out if it's...
Jordan Goey opens up the angle, kicks the first goal in Scott Pendlebury's 400th game, and game 200 for him. Welcome back, Jordan Goey. And what a crucial part he might be to Collingwood's hopes tonight. The Magpies strike first, 1-1-7 to the Blues, 5 behinds. Kes Peterson, you can't look away. All of a sudden it's happening at the MCG.
Sorry, Clinch, I need to keep my eyes on the play, but I can't work out if it's good offence or ordinary defence at the moment because both teams seem to be able to transition between the arcs really easily. Uncontested marks. Collingwood, that was by far the better of all the options that we've saw, the transition plays that we've seen tonight. But the one previous for Carlton did the same thing. It resulted in a Cripps shot on goal. So I'm not sure if it's terrific ball movement or really ordinary checking by the defenders in the midfield, in particular through the middle of the ground. But it's really entertaining footy. This free-flowing, fast ball movement footy. It's really entertaining.
So Jordan Ngoe's 200th AFL goal was the first of this match. Because we're not far from time on here at the MCG. An enthralling opening term so far on ABC Sport. Cox wins the hit out back in the middle, down towards Crisp. Gets a boot free to advance it towards Elliott, who marks. Just attacking side of halfway. They'll start to surge forward, but Elliott holds the footy for a moment. Long way from home here, Jamie Elliott. pops it into the attacking zone. Going up in front to go again. McGovern from behind. McCreary busts the tackle off to Pendlebury. Walks away from 1-2. Shares it with Hoskin Elliott. Pops it closer to home now. Crisp is back there. We're with the spoil. Sard the fresh air shot off the deck. Ricochets deep to the pocket again for Pendlebury. Up against the boundary. He goes checks on the run. This would be superb. It just shaved the post on the way in. Not quite the fairy tale finish on that kick from the milestone man. The crowd would have been absolutely insane. But it's the Magpies 1-8. Carlton 5 behinds. 20 gone in the opening term on ABC Sport.
The Collingwood fans of their punt road end were out of their chairs. Spriggy is Boyd for the Blues. Centres it. Finds Mitch McGovern through the middle of the ground. Kicks to Jesse Motlop. Back edge of the centre square. Spots a free player out on the Shane Warne stand side. It's Matt Owies. He takes the mark and veers away from Howe. Looking for Charlie Curnow. It's over his head and Frampton. Fogarty racing after it. Ran into Martin. Martin takes the footy. Tackled and brought down by Maynard. No whistle as Steele Sidebottom lays the tackle with Maynard's support. And Cottrell is the last to arrive in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 3 points. 20 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Up it goes. Cox and Pitnet. Overrun down there by Ned Long. Loose footy gathered by Pendlebury, or is he worried there by Cher up against the boundary line? And we'll throw it back in once again. 55 around from Carlton's attacking goal at the City end.
You don't just jump in. You are a Sydney local. Port Adelaide kicked the first 5 goals against the Swans.
That's bad news for the Swans.
5-2-32 to Sydney, yet to score.
They are slow starters, but their season, the Swans, looks in free fall from what looked like a guaranteed minor premiership. Massive couple of games coming up, and there's still a matter of most of that one to come as well against the Power. Back in it comes at the MCG. Long with the tackle down there on Hewitt. Loose footy gathered by Cripps. Back to Sard from 60 out. Pops it deep to the pocket now. Curnow has Frampton for company, and Howe floats across third man in to spoil. Throw in deep in attack for the Blues at the City end of the MCG. It's Carlton who trails now. Of course, Collingwood with the only goal through Jordan Agoe. 1-8, Carlton 5 behinds. 21 gone, opening term, ABC Sport.
Tossed in, Pitnet and Cox. Pitnet in front position, palms it down. Crisp for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury, gets a hand pass away to Sidebottom. Close to the boundary line, Dacos. That's Josh, had to take the tackle. He's charging in. Cottrell locks him up and takes him over the boundary line. So Port Adelaide 5-2-32 to Sydney yet to score. 21 minutes gone, opening term there. 5 individual goal kickers, Rosie, Horne-Francis, Georgiades, Evans and Dixon for the Power. Thrown back in. Collingwood by 3 points here. Carlton inside their attacking 50. It's Pendlebury who gathers in the black boots. A high kick in the middle of the ground. Boyd courageous back with a flight. Takes the mark in front of Dan McStay.
Sets up with options inside 50 here. Jordan Boyd deep to full forward, but Moore floats across to intercept. And as well watched from the skipper up in front of Curnow. Wilson goes quickly. Quainer waits for it, but coming in with a spoil. Owies to force a stoppage. 65 around from Carlton's attacking goal.
I'm loving how both teams are really keen to move the ball quickly. There's nothing on. They will go sideways. They go a little bit short, but they're not holding the ball up for unnecessary reasons. If there's an option straight ahead, they'll take it every time.
And the Pies are 1-8. Carlton 5 behinds so far here on this Saturday evening. Back in it comes Cox. Lays it down here looking for Hewitt. Just got a hand pass away. Under pressure, Chera from McCreary. Comes back here for Hewitt of the Blues. And now Pitnet on the bounce back to Sard. Works it back to Chera. His kick wobbles its way towards 50. Out to meet the football. It's shared by Martin. Back inboard now and inside 50. But Dacos can bound off halfback. It's Josh for the Pies.
Into the middle of the ground for Tagoe, but McGovern makes the spoil. Awkward bouncing ball from Motlop. Josh Dacos tackled. Had to get a quick hand pass away. Cottrell gathers for the Blues. Hand pass to Mitch McGovern inside 50, lace out to Charlie Curnow, who comes leading out. Plenty of Collingwood players coming to support Billy Frampton. Not much you can do with a kick like that.
It's the first time that we've seen Curnow be able to lead up at the footy as well when it's being delivered inside forward 50 without 2 or 3 Collingwood players sitting in front of him. He just managed to find some space, and McGovern on his left was good enough to put it into that space and allow him to run onto it unimpeded without a Collingwood sort of spare sitting in front of him.
Charlie Curnow out to the left. He'll kick from about 45 metres out. The Blues with 5 behinds. They need their leading man to stand up. He leads the Coleman medal by 3 goals from Jesse Hogan. Charlie Curnow from 45 leans back and misses to the right. 6 behinds to open the show. Collingwood 1-2-8 at the other end. 24 minutes gone, opening quarter on ABC Sport.
Nervous start for Carlton. The Pies bring it back in. Maynard from the left back pocket. drives it back to the members' wing. Coming in from the side again was Kemp, and now gets the hand pass from Hollands. Kemp goes again with a snap towards Mackay, but it's forced out of bounds by Maynard.
So marks now are 30-13 in favour of the Blues. The Magpies are really struggling to just find by foot their way through. A lot of their forward entries are just banging the ball forward, and we know Carlton will really appreciate that with McGovern and Wiedering down there.
25 gone in the first term here. Pitnet tries to follow up at ground level his own tap, and again they pile in from all angles. The umpire's spotted holding the ball, which will go the way of the Pies, of the Blues, I beg your pardon. So it was Nick Dacos underneath all of that. He made no attempt to get it out. So Hewitt with a free kick from just forward of the wing. Deep to the hot spot here for Carlton. Howe makes a run in defence. Out the back, Frampton. Pressure comes from Cottrell, and Frampton forces it through for a rush behind, and that's how it'll stand. So it's 7 behind Carlton, 1-2-8 Collingwood. 26 gone in the opening term on ABC Sport.
Rushed it through or threw it through. I'm not quite sure the difference.
Josh Dacos brings Collingwood back into play, up towards Darcy Cameron, spoiled by Kemp from behind, and Sam Walsh emerges from 50. Can the smooth mover fire towards goal? No, Frampton just metres out from his defensive goal, rushes it through at the city end. So the behinds are starting to tally up, 8 behinds for the Blues. They had the first 4 scoring shots. Collingwood 1-2-8, Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Mitch McGovern has just gone down to the change rooms with the Blues medicos. He looked to have an issue with his left shoulder, so they've just headed down to the change rooms to check that out.
Thanks, Rory. DeGoey paid the mark here at half-back for the Collingwood. He has the only goal of the game so far, Jordan DeGoey, and his 200th career major. Plays on now. Up to the wing. Mason Cox leaps up in front from the back. Wiedering, ball in dispute. Nick Dacos searches through, shares it with Crisp. Hand pass wide here again, still going to Schultz. And now inside 50, back to Crisp. Off to Nick Dacos. Can he finish from 30? You bet he can. A snap on the run from Nick Dacos, and the Pies have their second. 2-2-14. They lead Carlton, who are 8 behind so far here. 27 gone in the opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
Well, Kez, as a coach, you want your players to, what we call, stay involved in the play. So if they give off one handball or they're involved in the play, don't just stand and watch the rest of it unfold. Stay involved in the play. And I don't think there is a player better in the whole league than staying involved in the play than Nick Dacos. He was involved in the wing here. He's the guy who scooped it up, hard ball get, handballed a short one out to Pendlebury. Most players, because the ball's in front of them, they'd stop and let it unfold. He just kept sprinting, eventually ended up on the end of it, and as we know, he can put them through from anywhere. That's just superb football.
Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. Cameron wins the tap for Collingwood in the middle of the ground, but it's Walsh for the Blues. Hand pass to Cripps, swings on his right, kicks towards Curnow, can't take the mark. Moore makes the spoil for Collingwood. Front and centre, Cottrell gathers, corralled by Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass away to Elijah Hollands and back to Cottrell, left half forward. He chips it to Owies. Veers out onto his right-hand side, pulls his kick, trying to get it back to Elijah Hollands, but in the middle, Darcy Cameron takes the mark for Collingwood. He's going to chip it boundary side at right half back to Josh Dacos. As I used to say in the classics, if you don't want to know the score at the Adelaide Oval, look away now. Port Adelaide 6-0 against the Sydney Swans.
I think most Swans fans wouldn't want to hear the score. Hewitt scribs a kick down, back inside forward 50, wide from Mackay, gathering on the bounce, and now he can tumble it towards goal. It's through. That is absolutely superb from Harry Mackay, right on the quarter-time siren. So Carlton get the last laugh in the opening half an hour, and he locks things up. 2-2-14 the Pies, 1-8-14 Carlton. Scores level at the first change. Goals through Jordan DeGoey and Nick Dacos for Collingwood, with the only goal of the game for Carlton. That one on the run on the quarter-time siren from Harry Mackay.
The Blues have had their chances in front of goal, but weren't able to capitalise till right on the quarter-time siren. And Collingwood, having scored the previous 2 goals, all of a sudden have no reward for their hard work. Great to have your company on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Roy and HG. This medal-winning duo are no strangers to the City of Lights. But, mes amis, it's not just the Olympic Games. It's the culture, the fashion, the politics, the art, the opera, plus BMX bikes and weightlifting. That's people, medals and cheese daily during the Olympics across the nation, teetering on the brink of joyful chaos on ABC Radio and on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Now, straight down the middle, a beautiful kick to Josh Dacos, through the middle, a half pass to Jamie Elliott, breaks away from Kemp, they're out here. Hoskin Elliott right half forward, he has 30 metres, inside 50 to Goey. That might be the best end-to-end we've seen all season. And where were the Blues? As Jordan Ngoe marks millimetres out. He just has to deal with the angle. Jordan Ngoe opens up the angle, hits the first goal in Scott Pendlebury's 400th game.
Nick Dacos searches through, shares it with Chris. Hand pass wide here again, still going to Schultz. And now inside 50, back to Chris. Off to Nick Dacos. Can he finish from 30? You bet he can. A snap on the run from Nick Dacos, and the Pies have their second. Hewitt scoops a kick down, back inside forward 50, wide from Mackay, gathering on the bounce, and now he can tumble it towards goal. It's through. That is absolutely superb from Harry Mackay, right on the quarter-time siren.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter time at the MCG in Scott Pendlebury's 400th match. The Pies looking to keep their season and their premiership alive. The Blues looking to move closer to the top four. And it's all locked at 14 apiece. The Magpies 2-2-14 to Carlton 1-8-14. The Blues had the first 4 scoring shots of the match. They had 8 behinds before they managed to kick a goal just before quarter time. Matt Clinch and Brett Spreek calling the action. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts, with Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Meanwhile, quarter time at the Adelaide Oval. Stand by. Port Adelaide 7-3-45 to Sydney Bagel. Scoreless in the opening quarter. For the Power, 2 goals to Mitch Georgiades. Individuals to Rosie, Willie Rioli, Dixon, Horne-Francis and Evans. Port Adelaide by 45 points. Ricky, you said the Swans are slow starters, but I think everyone's a little surprised by that.
They've lost all kinds of belief and spark, the Sydney Swans. The weird thing is they'll still be on top, even with this slide of form. Massive game against the Pies Friday night footy next week, and who knows as far as where this ends up for the Collingwood Footy Club tonight, whether they're still playing for their season next week. It's just going to be a phenomenal game.
So after this weekend, there's 3 rounds to play. Sydney were a game and a half clear of Brisbane. All of a sudden, the Lions in that match against St Kilda, the final match of round 21, could have some massive stakes on it. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke with their assessments at quarter time. Scores locked at 14 apiece.
Isn't it amazing, Clinchy, before we get to this game, in the last, say, month and a half, maybe 2 months, we've had Ken Hinkley being discussed as he's on the way out from Port Adelaide. Luke Beveridge is on the way out from Western Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have turned their season around and are on track at the moment, depending on what happens, for somewhere a finish between 2nd and 4th. And Sydney in freefall, as you mentioned, Spriggy, and Port Adelaide 45 points up on them. This season has just got a little bit of everything. Tonight's game has been incredibly entertaining, Berkey. You keep mentioning how fast the teams want to try and move the ball, and as I mentioned throughout that first quarter, I still can't work out whether it's poor checking and defensive location of players through the middle of the ground on both teams equal, or whether just the ball movement is just so fast that they're catching the defence teams on the hop. But a really even first quarter. I think Collingwood would be disappointed to give Mackay that last kick within 10 seconds to go before the quarter. It was an outstanding left foot snap, banana almost a dribble. So I'll start again. It was an incredible dribble kick on his left foot from Harry on the boundary. So really, really even. The Dacos boys are starting to cause some concern for Carlton. Nick's up to 10 disposals, as is Josh. Josh has amassed 284 metres gained already. He's been incredibly damaging with his possession. Every one of them he's taking metres gained with his feet first, and then able to kick the ball inside 50 and being able to be really classy with his possession. The biggest differential in terms of stat, and you mentioned it a couple of times, Berkey, is the uncontested possessions. Carlton are up 20 and they're up 15 marks, so they're just able to possess the ball through the middle of the ground, which has probably ultimately led them leading the scoring shots at 9-4 despite the fact that the Collingwood probably made the most of their opportunities in comparison to Carlton. But a really, really even game thus far and a really entertaining quarter. So hopefully we've got another 3 quarters of this, Berkey.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that last one from Harry Mackay went through to even up the scores, because it probably deserves to be a draw at quarter time. Different styles slightly between the two teams. I think Carlton are more trying to hang on the ball by foot, whereas Collingwood, they want to get the ball and go. I think they believe that potentially if they can get the ball quickly inside 50 with Bobby Hill and the other guys down there, they've got more of an opportunity through their smaller players to actually get some goals. Cox is starting at full forward out of the goal square down there, but the rest of them, including DeGoey, they're fairly small players, so they want to get the ball to even onto the ground inside forward 50 and get some goals.
Let's check in boundary side. Rory Campbell.
Mitch McGovern just popped up from the rooms a short time ago and headed back out to join the team huddle. He had some strapping underneath his jumper and sort of the right shoulder back region, maybe the trapezius for those who know their anatomy. But he's back out there and looks to be okay to continue.
Thank you, Rory. We'll keep watching Nick Dacos, who had the magic spray to the right wrist as well at quarter time. Scores locked at 14 apiece as we get the second quarter underway. Pitnet and Cameron, it spills down the way of Cherry. Gets a little toe poke towards half forward. Fogarty can't get onto it. And Darcy Cameron just volleys it creatively and finds Will Hoskin-Elliott. Good work from the Collingwood ruckman. Kicks out to Quaynor at right half back. Plays on. Hewitt tries to corral him one way then the other. Cuts back to the corridor. Drives it up towards half forward. McStay and Cox are both there. DeGoey front and centre. A look away hand pass. Pendlebury left it for Noble. Hand pass out wide in front of Maynard. Gets the hand pass to Howe. Charlie Curnow off his chase. Links up with Darcy Moore at half back. And the kick is out wide for Bytel. He can't keep it alive as it goes out of play on the Shane Warne stand side. Collingwood 2-2-14 to Carlton 1-8-14. The opening minute of the second quarter on ABC Sport.
Crowd here of 80,000 plus. These two historic sides, massive rivalry. Back in it comes. Pitnet was handling Cameron, and the umpire will penalise him accordingly. In fact, no, he's going to say it's going to go Pitnet's way. So it's a Carlton free kick somehow as he comes down the line for Acres on the outer wing in front of the Shane Warne stand.
Pitnet was shepherding in the ruck. It should have been against him, not to him.
Yeah. Newman chips it back wide again to Acres. Back from that foot injury. Had 32 touches last time these sides met in around 8. Another short ball to Hewitt, who's been busy in this game so far.
Had a good first quarter, Hewitt. This is his 11th possession, which are equal with Paddy Cripps.
A long kick inside 50 to the punt road end. Up in front, though, it's marked by Cameron, intercepting for Collingwood in the left back pocket.
Darcy Cameron goes short around the boundary line, finds Braden Maynard, who drives a long kick up the Shane Warne stand side. McStay works his way to the front, but Wiedering read it best. Another intercept mark for the Blues defender. Into the middle of the ground for Sard. He can switch it all the way back to centre half back where Kemp takes the mark. Completes the switch out to Ollie Hollins, who marks at left half back on the members side. Trying to stretch the Collingwood defence up towards McGovern. In from the side, Darcy Moore held it long enough in the eyes of the umpire. The Collingwood captain trudges behind his mark. He's at right half back on the members side. Scores locked at 14 apiece.
Moore drives it long here for the Pies. Attacking side of the wing, and Cameron's been everywhere in this quarter so far. Darcy Cameron marks in that part of the ground. Looking to break this quarter time deadlock of 14 points apiece. Short kick to Hoskin-Elliott. He's still too far out to score. Assesses the options. Comes inboard to Pendlebury. Every disposal he has will receive a raucous cheer in his 400th game. This is number 10, a former skipper. Drives it long, looking for options. Leaping up down there was McStay. It comes to Cameron. His kick smothered. Comes back to Nick Dacos. He can curl it around the post. Not the right post, though. It's the behind post. Through for a minor score. Collingwood move ahead, but only by 1. 2-3-15. Carlton 1-8-14. 3.5 gone second term. ABC Sport.
Nick Newman brings Carlton back into play. Chips it out to Kemp, who takes the mark despite the late efforts of Bobby Hill. Short to Ollie Hollins. He's wrestling with Pendlebury. Pendlebury lays the tackle. Now over the top of the footy. And the umpire will ball it up. Scott Pendlebury in game 400 gets to his feet. He's got the left elbow bandaged and the black boots in his milestone game. From the throw up, Pitnet can't get a decisive tap. Hoskin Elliott through traffic, down low. McGovern can't take the mark. Bobby Hill end over end. It's skidding. It slams into the bottom of the right goalpost. And a minor score. Collingwood by 2 points.
Just how quick did he get that from his hand to his foot? The pickup was as clean as you'd ever see, and the ability to get it to his foot was just lightning quick.
Kick out from Newman, finds Walsh. Relatively quiet so far, Sam Walsh. He has 6 disposal, goes beyond defensive 50. Martin crashes to ground here. Schultz follows up there for the Pies, can't get it clear. Extracted there by Maynard. Umpires wanted here a free kick which will go the way of Braden Maynard, so Martin was into the back of him. And the Collingwood defender will have it 75 from attacking goal. Pops it in the pocket now. Chincotta from behind with a spoil on Elliott. Kept alive down there by the Pies and Schultz, but his kick's a turnover marked by Kemp on the last line there for the Blues. It's Collingwood 2-4-16. Carlton 1-8-14. 5 gone second term. ABC Sport, Matt Clinch.
Port Adelaide have kicked 8 unanswered goals to start the match against the Sydney Swans at the Adelaide Oval. The kick is marked by Billy Frampton, who got rid of his opponent from the Kemp kick. And takes the intercepting mark between wing and half forward for Collingwood. Points in the direction in which he intends to send it. Into the pocket at the City end. Cox is there. Big fly from Elliott. Jacob Wiedering just stood his ground. Takes another reliable mark, the Blues defender, in the right back pocket. I know you're biased, Kez, but surely he's All-Australian this year, isn't he?
Oh, I don't want to jinx him, Clinchy, because I reckon he's deserved it a couple times, but surely.
Kicks up towards Jack Martin, who dropped the mark, but he's first back onto it for the Blues off the outside of the boot. His kick is marked by Long of Collingwood.
Long off for Noble, waiting for it. He'll switch back to the members' side of the MCG. Hoskin Elliott marks in space. Wheels and goes now, pops it to Elliott, who's still though, in fact Bobby Hill, who's 65 from goal, pops it inside forward 50, leading up to Goey. He can mark right on the arc in the right forward pocket. This will test his distance, Jordan Goey, but he appears here reasonably confident.
He does. There's no wind down there tonight. It's absolutely perfect night for football. It's a little bit chilly, but the players won't get too hot. And, this is what this fella's in the side for, to do something special.
It's kicked one of their 2 early goals so far. He lays into it here from 55. It swings back, but not quite enough. And, in fact, it's marked. No, it was a behind before it was marked down there beyond the behind line. So it's 2-5-17 the Pies. The Blues are 1-8-14. 6 gone second term on this Saturday evening here at the MCG. This is ABC Sport.
The voice of Brett Sprigg alongside Matt Clinch calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Kez Peterson with you. Newman's kick up towards half-back. And Darcy Cameron wins the wrestle against Mark Pitnet. Takes the mark at right half forward.
Yeah, Pitnet's going to have to be better than that. Cameron's certainly getting on top, taking a few marks around the ground this quarter. So Pitnet needs to get a bit tougher.
He's taken a few contested marks, Darcy Cameron, as he pokes this into the pocket. Mason Cox flies, had a piece of it, spoiled at the last moment. Hang on. The non-officiating umpire has paid the mark. So the one in the middle of the ground called play on, and the one in the right forward pocket has paid the mark. They are, of course, mic'd up, so they can communicate amongst themselves. And I suppose by the letter of the law, Mitch McGovern got there after Mason Cox had a fair hold of it. What do you think, Berkey?
No, you big fellas, it's dry. You've got to hang on to it better than that.
I guess that's the beauty. When you're 211 centimetres, you get it for a few seconds before anyone else. And Mason Cox in the right forward pocket, looking to finish off Collingwood's dominance in this second quarter. And that's a beautiful kick. The arms outstretched from the Texan. And Collingwood open up a 9-point lead. 7 minutes gone, second quarter. The Magpies 3-5-23 to the Blues 1-8-14. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
It's a good finish, wasn't it? He's been in and out of form, Cox, and in and out of the team this year, but if Collingwood do want to get into finals and play deep into finals this year, they're going to need an X factor, and Mason Cox can provide that for Collingwood. He's an absolute beacon up forward, and he makes the defenders around him a bit panicky. They have to pay attention to him because he has the ability to run and jump at the ball, take it at the highest point like he just did then. So particularly when he can finish goals from an angle like that on his right foot, he could be really, really important for Collingwood for the rest of this game in particular, but obviously moving forward if they have finals aspirations for the year.
He has an enigmatic big game quality, Kez, is the best way to describe it, Mason Cox. Back down it comes. Clearance goes the way of the Pies and Nick Dacos. Mercuri's hand pass back to Nick Dacos. Pops inside 50 is that man McStay, leads up and marks. 25 out directly in front.
I'm not sure there's many players in the competition that can pull off a kick like what Nick Dacos just did then. He was running towards the right forward pocket from the middle of the ground, hooks it on his right foot, 30, 40 metres and just finds the space. It's quite incredible.
He's been back for a couple of games now. Kicked 3 against the Tigers last week. Dan McStay on that left boot, steers it through. And the Pies stay in the seize control here of this blockbuster. 4-5-29. The Carlton, who are stuck on their quarter-time score of 1-8-14. 9 gone second quarter. ABC Sport, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Got a bit of a crack at Brody Kemp here because that ball was just kicked out of the middle of the ground by Dacos, and McCreary, who was Kemp's opponent, had a good 15-metre lead on him. Just let him lead up, pick up the football, handball back to Dacos, and rest is history. He hits him on the chest, turns around and kicks a goal. So if I'm the Carlton defensive coach, I'm saying, hey, you know, a little bit more respect to your opponent and less just trying to get a cheap one out the back.
2 goals in 2 minutes for Collingwood. They had 7-1 inside 50s in this second quarter through 9 minutes. Back in the middle of the ground, Pitnet and Cameron. Cripps decides to get involved. He gets the clearance. Hand pass too slick in the end for Ollie Hollands. And it's Nick Dacos who drives it inside 50. Hoskin back with a flight. McGovern couldn't hang on. No whistle. Schultz just soccers it away. McGovern seemed impeded. Spills out Elliott's way. His hand pass chopped off by Boyd. Long high kick into the middle of the ground. And Cameron's underneath it for Collingwood.
He'll swing it across out wide for John Noble. Marks all by himself. 65 from goal here for the Magpies. He's just about the most defensive player on the ground as he pops it inside a very busy forward 50 for Collingwood. Jamie Elliott looking to get involved, and now it's fallen down to Schultz, who's wrapped up from behind by Kemp. The umpire ball up again.
They've got a real problem, Carlton. It's 9-1 inside 50s in this second term. They need to get on their bikes and start defending.
11 gone in the second quarter. It's the Magpies by 15 as they work it forward again. McStay snap, but McGovern fielding it back on the last line. And Carlton will try again. Almost coughed up by Boyd. Pressure from McCreary. Socket back towards McGovern. McCreary goes again in concert with Hill. Overrun by McCreary this time. Hill goes in hard. It comes back to Hoskin, who can snap, and he misses to the right-hand side. Will Hoskin Elliott. So it's another behind. The Pies just keep peppering away. All those opportunities going their way. 4-6-30, leading Carlton to a 1-8-14.
Yeah, Darcy Cameron, 5 possessions this quarter, 4 marks. So, Mark Pitnet, you need to pull your finger out a bit.
Sard quickly into Akers, who goes short to Walsh, who's cannoned into by Nick Dacos. A bit of a shove on Blake Akers, and the umpire says, "Oh, you two, get out of the way and let Sam Walsh take his kick." In the fluorescent pink boots in the left back pocket, the Carlton running man kicks into the middle of the ground, and Crisp, the opposing running man for Collingwood, takes intercepting mark. His 234th consecutive game, closing in on that record of Jim Stein's 244. Jack Crisp kicks a high ball inside 50 for Collingwood. Wrestling as McStay against Wiedering. Spills out the way Mackay. Can't take it cleanly. Bounces off long. Cripps gets a half pass to Hewitt. He's dumped in a tackle by McCleary, but didn't have the footy in the eyes of the umpire. Carlton free kick at half back.
He comes to Sam Walsh, receives a hand pass and kicks towards Jack Martin in his 150th game. Bursting by Akers. Back to the milestone man Martin. And now Cottrell beats Quainer. Hand pass back inside. Josh Dacos and Akers see it out of bounds for a throw-in. A bit of afters here as well. A bit of jumpers being pulled. Coming in there is Bytel and Akers. And now the umpire comes in to split them. We'll throw it back in between wing and half forward at the Carlton attacking end, the punt road end. It's the Magpies who lead by 16 points though. Back in it comes as Crisp coughs it up into the path of Newman. Wobbles it high inside 50. Early leap from Howard down to Cottrell now for Carlton, who's held by Noble. Umpire says play on. Quaynor, hand pass back in space. Mackay traps it for the Blues. Comes back to Chera. He can centre his kick where it's marked by Hollands. And he'll take his shot down there. Elijah Hollands from 25. Make it 30 out directly in front.
Well, there's quick 2 inside 50s there for Carlton. Makes it 10-3 this quarter. It was up to 10-1 at one point in time. It was just the Magpies were just working harder, putting Carlton under pressure, and they weren't being able to find those loose targets and get the marks like they were in that first quarter.
Against the one in play here. Important kick this one for the Blues. Elijah Hollands on the approach, straight and true. They at last get their second major of the game. And their first of this second quarter. 2:8:20 Carlton. They trail the Magpies who are 4:6:30. 14 go on second term. ABC Sport, your experts, Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
It's probably one against the play there a little bit, Berkey. As you mentioned, it was only their second inside, so it must be their third, just waiting for the computer to update, their third inside 50 for the quarter versus Collingwood's had 10. So they just seem to be able to kick one against the play. And Elijah Hollands just has a bit of a knack to being able to get on the end of one. He's a pretty accurate kick. He's kicked 14 for the year, and he just seems to always just bob up when they need one most. He's been a good find for him off the half forward, and he can push into the middle as well. But the uncontested marks, we talked about that in the first quarter. They're up to 17-9, so Collingwood just really owning possession here halfway through this second term.
Carlton AFLW captain Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport. The Power have kicked the opening 9 goals of the match against the Sydney Swans at the Adelaide Oval. Free kick going the way of the Blues. Chera takes the advantage inside 50. Wrestling is Curnow. Oh, he's front and centre. It's Darcy Moore. Hand pass to Howe. Kick smothered by Fogarty into the open goal. Back-to-back goals for the Blues. Inside 2 minutes to wrestle their way back into this match. Collingwood's lead all of a sudden cut back to 4 in the blink of an eye. The Magpies 4:6:30 to Carlton 3:8:26, and good reward for Lockie Fogarty.
Yeah, well done by Fogarty. That's what small forwards got to do. They just got to create goals out of nothing a lot of time, and that was just a smother. The ball luckily rolled towards the top of the goal square, and he was first one on it. The free kick in the middle was against Cox, who actually didn't jump in the ruck, because ruckmen don't jump these days. They just run in and cuddle each other and then try and tap the ball, but he stuck the knee up, and the umpires are red hot up on ruckmen who stick their knee into their opponent without actually jumping.
So the type of goal that gets highlighted on the review, Kez?
Yeah, no doubt that'll be shown a couple of times, and so it should. It's great work ethic, great intent, and be able to finish as well.
Margin back to 4. 16 go on second term at the MCG. Clearance goes away the Pies though. Nick Dacos. High ball towards half forward. Cincotta gets there first for Carlton. Run down Bobby Hill as it's picked up here by Nick Dacos again. Loopy hand pass inside 50. Started to run the ball to Goey. Bursting through for the Pies. Back to Pendlebury. He slips one tackle. Footy comes loose though. Kemp overruns it again. Cox goes in hard. And it's going to come back here for a high tackle Carlton's way. And it'll be down there with George Hewitt. So he'll swing it across the defensive goal mouth here. And Carlton through Wiedering, and now Boyd inside defensive 50 here. It's the Pies by 4 points. 17 go on second term, ABC Sport.
Port Adelaide leading by 64 points over the Swans. So 10 unanswered goals to start the match in the second quarter of the Adelaide Oval. The kick up the wing towards Harry Mackay. Darcy Moore makes the spoil. And McCreary is shoved over the boundary line by Ollie Hollands. A throw in between wing and half forward for the Magpies on the members' side. Collingwood by 4 points. Matt Clinch and Brett Spreek calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson, your experts on ABC Sport. Saturday night footy. Cameron works Mackay underneath it for Collingwood. Tackled. Half pass chopped off by Elijah Hollands. Kicks up the members' wing. Little toe poke for Josh Dacos. He races after it and volleys it once more, but straight over the boundary line. That'll be insufficient intent. Even though he's trying to create the play, he didn't really have control of it, and Adam Sard slowly gets the footy out of the gutter.
Rare mistake there by Dacos. They normally know how much time and space they've got, and Josh had more time there. Could have picked up the footy and drilled it forward, but elected to kick the ball off the ground.
We've got the close game here at the G Clinch. 11-4 now, that Port Adelaide. That is just extraordinary. Up to a pack on the wing. Curnow comes in first of all. Knocked away by Frampton. Bytel's kick just tumbles back towards the benches, and Oscar Elliott runs it out of bounds for a throw-in.
And the ooze you heard, Spriggy, says the umpire almost ran into Bo McCreary. So we almost had a collision across half forward, and that's what the fans realised.
18 going second serve here at the MCG. Collingwood by 4 points, but momentum with Carlton in this second quarter. Back in it comes. Cameron lays it down there for De Goey. Overrun wide De Goey, and now long to Pendlebury. De Goey taps it on again here as well. Martin couldn't gather for Carlton. Loose footy here for Josh Dacos. Fires it back to De Goey, who eyes the goals from 40. He's off balance, but the kick's on its way, and it goes through. He saw the opportunity, and he sees his second goal. So the Pies have 5-6-36. The Blues are 3-8-26. 19 go on second term. ABC Sport, your experts, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Bergie, that's the second goal Collingwood's kicked by just keeping the ball in motion. There was one in the first quarter where they did the same thing. Nick Dacos was the one who got on the end of it by remaining in the play. And same thing happened again from this wing here. Handball forward into the middle of the ground. None of it's clean, none of it's pretty, but just the wave that they were able, and the speed that they hit the ball, and the ability for them to keep it, moving it forward, able to leapfrog the Carlton defenders, and to have Jordan De Goey find some space on the move inside forward 50. It's not a good sign for the Carlton defenders, but it happened because Collingwood was so determined to keep the ball in motion and keep it moving. So another great example for them being able to hit the scoreboard after that.
Couple of goals to stoppage from the Magpies. Back in the middle of the ground. Hewitt gets the clearance to the Blues. Half pass to Walsh. Mackay under pressure as Jamie Elliott lays the tackle just to the right of the centre circles, Collingwood's way. And the umpire will ball it up in the middle of the MCG. A crowd of over 80,000 in attendance for the arch rivals. Collingwood in Scott Pendlebury's 400th game. Elijah Hollands gets a clearing kick up towards half forward. Martin can't take it cleanly. It's also his 150th. Cottrell knocks it out to Walsh. They're giving up ground though. Hand pass to Chincotta. High ball into the middle of the ground. Cameron underneath it. Mackay makes the spoil. Over the top goes Akers, and Pendlebury locks him up. Umpire circles and will ball it up. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Adam Cherra's just headed down to the change rooms with the Blues Medicos guys. Mitch McGovern did the same thing a short time ago, but he emerged and headed straight back out onto the field.
Back underway, Chris with the clearance. Hand pass goes nowhere though. Hill with Chincotta for company. Hand pass now for the Blues. Hewitt can connect with Ollie Hollands. Short kick. Going wide to find Cottrell. And he's attacking side of the wing in front of the Shane Warne stand. Can the Blues find one here? Leading up from full forward. Cripps controls it. No, mark not paid. Frampton wraps him up, and the umpire says, give it to me. Stoppage inside 50 for the Blues. It's Collingwood who lead here by 10 points. 5-6 plays 3-8. We've just hit time on here in the second term on ABC Sport.
And Cripps had 11 in that first quarter, only the 2 handballs this quarter.
12-4, the inside 50s Collingwood's way in this second quarter. Jack Martin from the stoppage to Elijah Hollands. Hand pass away, the kick inside 50, no mark claim. Curnow brought it down, charging through. Darcy Moore and Isaac Quainer laid the tackle on Jack Martin, who spread it out on the MCG turf in the right forward pocket for the Blues. Collingwood by 10 points. Tossed off. Cripps doing the ruck work against Cameron. It spills down the way of Bytel. He gets a boot in there for Collingwood. Cottrell gathers. Hand pass to Fogarty. Carlton in attack. Hand pass to Elijah Hollands. Chopped off by Elliott. Knocks it to McCreary for Collingwood. Looping hand pass. Boyd slaps it away. Back inside 50. Howe gathers. Hand pass for Collingwood to Josh Dacos. Clears defence up the wing. But Nick Newman was waiting for that kick. Marks for the Blues.
Newman plays on quickly. Comes back inboard now for Mitch McGovern. He's called to play on now to Walsh at centre half forward. Can they make it count here, Carlton? Sam Walsh, deep to the pocket now. Mackay had Cameron in the back of him, and it goes over the top for a throw-in alongside that left behind post at the punt road end.
Again, both teams really trying to move the ball as fast as they possibly can, but when they're going inside 50 and it's crowded, we just need to take a little bit more time. That wasn't the greatest option there by Sam Walsh.
5-6 plays 3-8. The Magpies by 10 points here. Time on second term. Side bottom. Spoils it back out of bounds. Carlton players appealing for insufficient intent, but will throw it back in with that forward 50 stoppage for the Blues.
Took a quarter and 17 minutes for the Swans' first score, which was a rush behind. Jordan Sweet got booed by the Port Adelaide fans, so the power 11-5-71 to Sydney. One behind at the Adelaide Oval. Here at the MCG, Collingwood by 10 points. Mackay and Cameron spills down to Blake Acres. Flying shot on goal, slams 3/4 up to the left goal post. The Blues trying to make something work there. Collingwood by 9 points.
So the total of, what's that, 5-6-3-9. So 12 scoring shots for Carlton against 11 for the Magpies. Not the team capitalising really as yet. Moore's kick out goes beyond defensive. 50, a towering grab by Darcy Cameron on the members' wing.
Again, he's been everywhere up the ground. He's just got sticky hands tonight, hasn't he?
But every game this year, Darcy Cameron, which is rare for him. He was back inside defensive 50 for Isaac Quainer. And now Jeremy Howe. He marks uncontested. Swings it wide now for Bytel, the former Saint. He slows things for a moment. Magpies lead here by 9. Vital considering the options.
6 marks for Darcy Cameron, 5 intercepts as the kick inside 50. Sada was well set. Takes the mark in front of Mason Cox with good support from McGovern. Risky kick for Cottrell. He somehow managed to hang on as Jamie Elliott trying to get a fist in there. No damage done, although the toe poke might be here. Walsh couldn't take the mark. Schultz brings it down. Hand pass away to half forward. The hand pass chopped off by Long. The Blues get out of jail there. Elijah Hollands kicks up the wing, looking for Jack Martin. Frampton gave away the free kick, chopping the arms, and Carlton have it on the Shane Stand wing.
Martin comes back inboard quickly to find Hewitt. Has options by hand. Walsh receives it, sends it wide himself now for Motlop. Here goes the fend on by Tell, 55 out. Coughs up the hand pass, though, straight to Noble. Little 1-2 with Josh Dacos. Will come back here, though, as Motlop was dealt with. So it will be a free kick, Carlton, at centre-half forward, Motlop 55 out.
McCreary came charging through after he got the hand pass away.
Seeing a replay on the screen as well. It was a late hit from McCreary. Motlop, though, doesn't appear too confident with the set shot. No, he's going to go back on the runway, Jesse Motlop. Lays into it from 55 with that running start right to the line. Helped through for a minor score. Carlton 3-10-28, trailing Collingwood to a 5-6-36 as we approach half-time here at the MCG on ABC Sport.
Don't forget you can join us on the SMS 0437 774 774. We'll bring your thoughts in a few moments' time. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
The Blues have pulled the trigger on the sub. Matt Kennedy's getting put into the game. It looks as though Adam Chera is out. I'll work to find out if that's an injury or a tactical move.
Thanks, Rory. Vital from half-back for the Pies, up to the wing, where McGovern, half past the side, and Motlop run down by McCreary. Great chase as he's up for the fight, and the Bo McCreary match-up with Jesse Motlop is intriguing. Gave away the free kick a few moments ago, was able to run down and get revenge there. Takes the free kick on the members' wing for Collingwood. Looks out boundary side, Maynard has space. Carlton have all but a few of their players inside the defensive 50. So Maynard will drive it long in the direction of Cox, who's put down. McStay in front. Free kick, says the umpire. I think this is going Mason Cox's way. Dragged off in the marking contest by Nick Newman, who's giving up a fair bit of size. And Mason Cox with a chance to go back and kick his second and extend Collingwood's lead. What did you see, Berkey?
I saw Big Mason flopping his arms like a big flamingo, trying to draw a free kick, and the umpire fell for it.
They need to be aware of that, though. He did the same thing less than 30 seconds ago with McGovern, and it rightly was probably called play on, but the Carlton defenders just need to be aware that that's what he wants to have a try and do, and he sucked the umpire in on that occasion, so you'd expect them to be able to be awake to that from here on out.
Second game back for Mason Cox for a second goal from the right forward pocket. 25 metres out, and he lets Newman know about it, who throws him to the turf by the front of the jumper, and it's on. At the city end of the MCG, there's about 15 players involved, and the AFL will be rubbing their hands here as they all wrestle in the right forward pocket. Mason Cox with his second goal was keen to let Nick Newman know all about it, and then Jordan Nakoe and Sard and a string of other players start to get involved. There's all smiles now. Collingwood lead by 14 points, 4-2 in this second quarter after scores are level at quarter time. 6-6-42 to Carlton, 3-10-28, and here's the Collingwood chant around the MCG.
What he does is he gets in front of his player, gets his player behind him, leans back into his player and flails the arms around like he's being held, and the umpire, one didn't fall for it and the other one did, and the fact is he's got his second goal on the board and Collingwood out to a game high lead.
It's a fair bit of wrestle after that goal as well, as Clinchy mentioned. Restart back in the middle, down there for Hewitt, tries to share it with Cripps. The Carlton skipper, it's going to come back here for a throw as it was incorrect disposal from Hewitt. So Jack Crisp has the footy here for the Pies, just forward of the bullseye. Collingwood leads by 14 points. Spears it inside 50 on the half volley. Pitt at an awkward gather, couldn't get there. Cripps was wrapped up by Jamie Elliott. Now it comes back here for the Blues in defence, and Martin can mark that rebounding ball, which came from Ollie Hollands. Now wide to Elijah Hollands. At left half back here for Carlton. Relatively tight game so far. Kick was too deep down there for Hewitt. Knocked away by Darcy Cameron. Kerno slips a tackle. Had pass wide here for the sub. Kennedy, he can close to 48. Pulls it short now for Motlop, who dives in and marks. Well watched, low to his left, and Jesse Motlop can be 20 out directly in front here with the opportunity for Carlton.
It was a good kick, wasn't it, Berkey?
Yep.
He had Akers out to his right as well, so they could have raffled it between them, but great work rate for Jesse to get on the end of that, but equally for Matt Kennedy, who's just come on into the game. Rather than load up and try and be a hero himself, he's popped it into the path of his teammate.
Thought we were going first touch, first kick there, first goal for Matt Kennedy there with that, but he did pull it short for this man, Jesse Motlop. On the approach, much closer to home this time, but he wastes it to the left-hand side. Carlton 3:11:29. Trail Collingwood to a 6:42. We've just approached the half-hour mark here of the second quarter on ABC Sport. But Carlton wasteful in this first half, Clinchy.
Yeah, no excuse for that. That's just really, really poor football. 20 metres out, virtually dead in front. Can't miss those.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Jeremy Howe from half-back kicks up towards Mason Cox. Can't take the mark. Crisp kicks up the members' wing. Bounces out in front of Sard. McCreary off his chase and tackles him over the boundary line. A throw in front of the two benches, and Adam Sard not all that happy with Bo McCreary. The umpire says throw it in. Sydney finally had their first goal at the Adelaide Oval. It came at the 23-minute mark through Isaac Heaney. The Port Adelaide have put on another one. Mitch Georgiades with his fourth. They're 12-7-79 to the Swans 1-2-8.
13 points the margin here Collingwood's way. Dropped by Hewitt. Umpire says play on. Hurries his kick back towards though only Pendlebury at half-back for the Pies. Now Hoskin Elliott can go up the line, but it's marked by Newman. So intercepted again as he'll go back to find Cripps. Quickly down to Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Just confirming, Adam Chera's substitution was because of a hamstring injury, guys. Cottrell's just gone down to the rooms as well.
He's had hamstring problems before, Adam Chera, through his early stage of his career, so that's disappointing for him. Subbed out in the second term of this game for Matt Kennedy. Meanwhile, the ball's gone out of bounds for a throw-in deep in attack for the Blues at the punt road end. Collingwood 6-6-42, Carlton 3-11-29.
Sorry, Spriggy, that's the third hamstring for Chera this season, so no good.
Played 22 games last season for the Blues, Adam Chera, but it has been part of his career. The Blues gave up pick 6 to get him. And throw in the left forward pocket. No chance to clear as Paddy Cripps is slow to rise with Jack Crisp. And the umpire will throw it in the air. Collingwood by 13 points. Pitnet tangles with Cameron. Spills down the way of Pendlebury. He's out past a Sidebottom, who was one of the O players who didn't touch it in that second quarter. Still didn't get a stat. One of 7 Collingwood players over the age of 30. And the Magpies, they hold a 13-point lead at the main break. 6-6-42 to Carlton 3-11-29. 2 goals to Jordan De Goey, 2 goals to Mason Cox, an individual to Nick Dacos and to Dan McStay. Meanwhile, for the Blues, their goals have come through Fogarty, Mackay and Elijah Hollins. Half-time at the MCG, Collingwood by 13 points. Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, it's the Power who lead by 77 points, approaching half-time there a couple of minutes ago. 13-7-85 to the Swans 1-2-8. Mitch Georgiades with 4 goals for Port Adelaide. Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson with their thoughts to half-time on ABC Sport.
A really good quarter there by Collingwood. I think at quarter time they realised, hey, Carlton have had 30 uncontested marks. We can't allow that to continue to happen. So get closer to your opponent and see what they do then. Initially, they couldn't handle it. They were just bombing the ball out. And later on, when they started to get a little bit more time and space, they were trying to invent those short passes, real dicey ones through the middle of the ground that Collingwood Red turned over and got the ball inside 50. At one stage, inside 50s were 10-1 in favour of the Magpies, and really good adjustment to the way that they were defending this ground and made a huge difference. They got on top in the clearances early in that quarter. Carlton worked their way back into it, but it was about the 25-minute mark. Cripps had 2 possessions and Hewitt had a really good quarter to start with. He's up to 18 possessions now, so he's probably the lone midfielder doing a really good job there for the Blues. But missing that goal by Motlop at the end could have got them back to within 8 points at half-time. It's probably where the game is about. Both teams just trying to go as fast as they can. There's none of this kicking the ball backwards, sideways, just taking heat out of the game. I think they both realise that probably they haven't got the forwards that are going to take a whole bunch of marks, because we know Collingwood have got some really good tall defenders that can bring the ball to ground. Frandren's doing a good job, Moore's doing a good job, so let's get it in there quickly. Let's allow the smaller blokes to really go to work and do their job, but to do that we need to really get the ball inside in forward 50 as fast as we possibly can. So it makes for a really entertaining game when it comes off, makes for a bit of a scrappy game when it doesn't come off, and they're just really sort of going forward at all costs. And so we're seeing a bit of both. We're seeing a bit of scrap, we're seeing a couple of bits of nice play, but to me this is your classic arm wrestle, and whichever team just lets up slightly, just stops that defensive intensity, I think the other one could score quickly and get quite a bit of a lead. So fascinating second half, Kez.
I agree, Berkey. It's been really entertaining, and you mentioned it right off the top that Collingwood really had the dominance in that second term, and I put it down to Darcy Cameron. He was the one who, as Collingwood were exiting their defensive 50, he was the one around half back, middle of the ground, that was able to take some contested marks. He took 5 in that term. He's had 6 overall for the game. And what that allowed Collingwood to do was to be able to pull back close to their attacking end, reset and get that run and gun game going like what you just talked about. He led all comers for Collingwood in that second term with 7 touches, 5 marks. He had 4 contested possessions. He was really the difference. And conversely for Carlton, the players that are marking him or need to be doing the same thing is the likes of Charlie Curnow, Harry Mackay getting up the ground, and Mark Pitnett, which we mentioned, who's his direct opponent in the middle. And those 3 guys, besides Matt Kennedy, who came on late as the sub, had absolutely zero influence in that second term themselves, each of them having 1 possession each across the ground, and obviously no score involvements either. So I really want to see for Carlton, it's those bigger guys get involved. Cox has obviously had a couple of moments up forward for Collingwood as well, so it's the big guys that are getting on top. The midfield's probably matching each other between Hewitt and Cripps and Walsh. They're probably matching it with the Dacosses and Hoskin Elliott playing across that half forward. So I don't think at the moment that's where the game is in the balance. I think it's the big key posts around the ground and forward for both teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if Carlton go to work on Cameron around the ground and maybe put a bit of a rocket up their big guys themselves, get Charlie up around the ball, Harry to be more of a presence for them down the line, and for Pitnett to go 1-for-1 with Cameron in this second term.
The thoughts of Karen Peterson alongside Nathan Burke. Half-time here at the MCG. Collingwood by 13 points after scores were level at quarter time. At the Adelaide Oval, it's Port Adelaide who lead by 77 points over the Sydney Swans. Half-time there as well. 13-8-86 to the Swans 1-3-9. So John Longmire, who at one stage had the Swans 3 games clear on top of the AFL ladder, it's now 1.5, and it might be a half by the end of the round of footy. We've got an Olympics update to come, but for the moment, let's bring you the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Tim Wharton with ABC News. The Northern Territory Police Commissioner has committed to eliminating racism in the force in an historic speech at the Garma Festival. Lillian Rangina has more.
Commissioner Michael Murphy used his Garma Festival address at the Gulkula Yungal Ceremonial Ground in northeast Arnhem Land to apologise to Indigenous Territorians for past injustices committed by members of the force.
Alongside with our police officers, we can commit to not repeat mistakes and injustices of the past.
For months, acts of racism in the force revealed at the inquest into the police shooting of Kumanjai Walker have strained relations between police and Indigenous Territorians. Commissioner Murphy says he's committed to eliminating all forms of racism in the NT Police through a new anti-racism strategy.
Police are investigating what they describe as a targeted shooting which killed a man in Melbourne on Friday night. Alex Alvaro reports.
Neighbours we've spoken to here on Tenterfield Drive say they're surprised this incident happened in such a quiet area. Police were called to this street in Burnside Heights in Melbourne's northwest around 9 p.m. last night following reports of a man with a gunshot wound. A 34-year-old man from Wallen died at the scene. Police say they don't believe this was a random attack and they're continuing to investigate the circumstances surrounding the death. There were detectives on scene interviewing neighbours, and police earlier examined a car with multiple bullet holes in its windscreen. Police have told anyone who knows anything to get in touch.
US Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will go head-to-head in a televised debate next month. And in the AFL, Geelong has climbed to second place with a 5-point win over Adelaide in Geelong. Richmond, meanwhile, remains on the bottom of the ladder following a 13-point loss to North Melbourne at Docklands. You're up to date with the latest in ABC News. I'm Tim Wharton.
Tune your mood with the ABC Listen app. Get swept away in a podcast.
Do you do that?
Oh, Richard, of course.
Choose the news that suits you.
I'm Matt Bevan, and this is If You're Listening.
Call live radio shows.
So you were terrified?
I don't know. Listening to your show got me through it.
And find a playlist that moves you. Anytime, anywhere, every day. Life sounds better with the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Back down it comes. Clearance goes away to the Pies and Nick Dacos. McCreary's hand pass back to Nick Dacos. Pops inside 50 is that man McStay leads up and marks. 25 out directly in front. Dan McStay on that left boot, steers it through.
Free kick going the way of the Blues. Chira takes the advantage inside 50. Wrestling is Curnow, always front and centre. It's Darcy Moore. Hand pass to Howe. Kick smothered by Fogarty into the open goal. Back-to-back goals for the Blues.
Move a run. Wide to Goey and now long to Pendlebury. To Goey taps it on again here as well. Martin couldn't gather for Carlton. Loose footy here for Josh Dacos. Buys it back to Goey. Hawaii's the goals from 40. He's off balance, but the kick's on its way and it goes through.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at the MCG, Saturday night footy in Scott Pendlebury's 400th game. The sixth player to achieve the milestone, and Collingwood have brought their best. They lead by 13 points at the main break, 6-6-42 to an inaccurate Carlton, 3-11-29. So the Blues with one more scoring shot, but it's the Magpies who lead by 13 points at half-time. At the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide by 77 points over the Swans, 13-8-86. To Sydney, 1-3-9. What a crazy season we are seeing. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprick call the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson are your experts on ABC Sport. It's also the 8th day of competition for the Olympic Games from Paris. To bring us all the latest, a very good evening to Ned Hall.
Evening, Clinchy. An awful lot happening right at the moment. I'll start with the Hockeyroos. They've just got underway in their pool match against Spain. They're already in front 2 minutes into that. Alice Arnott scoring the goal for them. Should they win that, they'll finish second place in the group and get an easier passage in the quarter-finals. Already today, we've seen a lot of activity in the Stade de France in the Athletics Stadium. The men's 100 metres heats are being run. Sadly, it looks like both Australians competing, Joshua Azzopardi and Rowan Browning, will not be advancing after the first round. And a bit of a shock that Noah Lyles, the superstar and star of the Netflix Sprint series, came second in his heat behind the British runner Louis Hinchcliffe. Also in the athletics, in the women's 800 metres, they've had repechage rounds run this morning, and good news for both Australians running there. Catriona Bassett and Abby Caldwell both safely through to the semi-finals. The men's decathlon is still underway, and Curtis Marshall is in qualifying in the men's pole vault. Elsewhere, the rowing, not such good news for Australia there. Tara Rigney, 4th in the women's singles sculls, 4th place for the women's 8 in their final, and 6th place for the men in the men's 8. It means the rowing regatta comes to an end, with Australia taking home just one bronze medal, which was won in the women's pairs yesterday. That's the poorest return for Australia's rowers since Seoul back in 1992. In the pool, the competition is winding down, but we've still seen the women's 50-metre heats earlier today. Meg Harris and Shayna Jack both successfully through there, although Sam Short misses out in the men's 1,500 metres. But there are more medals to come later tonight. There is the men's 4x100 metre medley relay heats to go, but tonight the mixed 4 4x100 medley relay final. The women's 800 metre final with Ariana Titmus, Kaylee McKeown and Ella Ramsey go in the 200 metre individual medley final as well, and Matt Temple swims in the men's 100 metres butterfly. Elsewhere, there's more team action later on in the water polo. Australia's Sharks take on Hungary, and Jess and Naomi Fox, the two sisters, are both taking part in the women's kayak cross in the first round. Plus, in the boxing, Charlie Senior will be boxing for a medal if he gets through his quarter-final against his Filipino opponent there. And in the 3x3 basketball, the Kangaroos, they are in action tonight. They will be taking on France. Also, the surfing, Jack Robinson, he's in a semi-final against Gabriel Medina. That is, if conditions allow. It looks like the sailors will be taking to the water. Great conditions down in Marseille at the moment. And I think, Clinchy, that just about brings you up to date with everything that's happening, apart from the Aussies playing in the final, in the men's doubles, in the tennis. They're going with serve in the first set. Piers and Ebden against the American pair of Austin Krajicek and Rajiv Ram. Silver medal guaranteed for the Aussie pair there. May it be gold. We'll see in a little while from now. 6-all is the score in the first set.
Beautifully done, Ned Hall. Thank you very much for your Olympics update. Of course, we are the official broadcast partner across regional Australia with live coverage of the Olympic Games from Paris through Adelaide, Canberra, the Northern Territory, Gold Coast, Hobart. And for everyone else, Roy and HG, they are back. People, Medals and Cheese, airing at 11 a.m. during the Olympics on ABC Local Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and via the ABC Listen app. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Roy Campbell down on the boundary. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Spriggy in the Super Netball, back-to-back titles for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Wow.
So claiming victory over the Melbourne Vixens. And it's a big night in Melbourne as well with the NRL just across the road at Amy Park. So the Melbourne Storm in action, going down to St George.
That is the Dragons' first win in Melbourne in 25 years. So that is extraordinary. A bit of history. It's pretty rare the Storm suffer a defeat at home. So yeah, that's happened a short time ago.
Well, are they a couple of games clear on top of the NRL ladder?
Yep, it'll be a race into them and Penrith in the NRL this year. So there's a couple of contenders. I caught a bit of the Roosters. I was in Perth last night doing that game, and that was a high-scoring game. The Roosters are in the conversation. There's a few teams making up the numbers in that top 8 picture. Back to matters here quickly. Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson, and it is Collingwood's 13-point lead here at half-time. The team's not too far away from returning to the action. Adam Cerra, we mentioned him being subbed out in that second term. That's now 5 hammies in 12 months. That is a real concern for him, no doubt, Kaz. I suppose, how do you... If you've got a recurring injury, I mean, it must be so frustrating for a player.
Especially something with high volume like that is if it's a different injury or it's because someone fell across your ankle and you rolled your ankle, and things that are, I suppose, in a way out of your control, even though it's not like he's controlling a hamstring, but it's a different feeling when it's reoccurring like that. You start to lose a little bit of confidence in your body, and I'm sure the medical staff and the high performance staff will be losing some sleep over that one tonight, unfortunately for him. I suppose the good news in the short term is that the replacement that comes into the game tonight for him, Matt Kennedy, a little bit of a like-for-like, I could make that argument. Maybe perhaps doesn't have the same speed that Cerra does, but that in and around under inside midfielder kind of role that they both can play. Cerra's played back a little bit in the last week or so as well, so he's added that string to his bow, whereas Kennedy tends to push forward and play sort of more front half game. I don't think tonight that substitution is going to hurt them unless Cottrell, who went off late, doesn't come back into the game and they're one down on the bench. I think tonight it's not going to hurt them, but as far as midfield depth is concerned for the rest of the season, depending on what that hammy ends up looking like, it might end up being a season, fingers crossed for him and for the rest of the club that it's not, but it's not great news for Cerra.
For a while back, they were starting to operate on hamstrings. They were talking about tendons getting sort of hairy and they were shaving them down and all that sort of stuff. When you've had 5 in a season, you've got to probably start exploring something a little bit new, because whatever they're doing isn't quite getting the result that they want. So might have to think outside the box.
This game overall has gone the way in some ways that Collingwood Carlton games do go. I mentioned they haven't been one-sided games in recent times or for the past 10 or 12 years, and yet today it's not gone beyond 15 points the margin, 13 points the half-time buffer, the way of the Pies. Carlton, despite being that man down, Adam Cerra, but Matt Kennedy in the game, by no means out of it. How do you see it going in the second half?
Very similar, I think. I don't think it's going to be a game where it opens up and it becomes free-flowing and we get a lot of pretty football from one end of the ground to the other, unless one team switches off defensively. And by the way that they're attacking this first half, I reckon that the coaches have been really drumming that side into both teams throughout the week. So the chances of switching off is low when those sort of things happen. So the other thing that's we cannot predict is that there's big things on the line for both of these teams. If they get a number of players, maybe even a majority of players, starting to think about what happens if we lose, what happens if we lose, and I don't want to be the player that causes that by making a mistake, or I won't run just in case it goes over the back. If they get any players on their team thinking like that, well then they're gone. That's it, they're done. They really need to throw caution to the wind here and be brave. I think that the bravest team who rejects that weight of oh no might be the winners in the end.
It's the inaccuracy for me. I mean, neither team have been particularly accurate in front of goal. Collingwood 6-6, but for Carlton kicking 3 goals 11. Think back to that Motlop miss in front of directly in front, 20 out. If Carlton are able to tidy that up, they've still had more scoring shots than what Collingwood have had. So despite the scoreboard being 15 points in arrears, they're still in this, like, very, very even in this challenge here tonight. So, as I said, leading into just after half time, the siren had gone. I think for mine, it's going to be the Harry and Charlie influence of this second term. Are Collingwood able to keep getting that ascendancy in the middle of the ground and giving their forwards the best opportunity? Berkey, you mentioned halfway through that second term, the small forwards for Collingwood, and they're going to be the ones that probably drive this forward. We've seen De Goey start to get involved. Obviously, Dacos get involved as well. Mason Cox kicking a couple. So they've got all areas firing up forward. They can tighten up their accuracy as well, but certainly Carlton need to do that, certainly.
We saw last night 15 goals, 20 for the Western Bulldogs. They still prevail by 51 points over the Demons, but it does tend to backfire on you a lot of the time when you're inaccurate in front of goal. Earlier today, North Melbourne winners by 13 points over the Tigers, so their third win of the season. They're a game clear now of Richmond, above them on the bottom of the ladder. And Geelong 5-point winners over the Adelaide Crows. Josh Rochelle kicked a goal with 24 seconds remaining, meaning that the Cats had to hang on for one last gasp. Geelong kicked 3 goals to 2 in the final term. Adelaide hit the front at the 23-minute mark, but the Cats answered back, and Jeremy Cameron got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year for his 6-goal performance. The players are making their way back out into the middle. We'll keep an eye on Matt Cottrell, who's a bit of an injury concern for the Blues. They've already made their sub with Adam Chera out of the match. And for the Magpies, still no movement on Pat Lipinski, who is the Magpies sub at the moment.
Just on that, Clinchy, so Pat Lipinski, I had a look, has been sub 4 times in his career. He's won all those games, and the last time he was sub was last year's GF.
Yes.
And that worked out pretty well for the Pies as well, didn't it? So
it did. And Charlie Curnow has kicked goals in 66 consecutive matches, just the one behind so far for the half. So as Kes Peterson mentioned, the Blues fans are hoping to see a little more of Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay. Mason Cox hobbles to the bench. What do you think of the big American and his goal celebration, Berkey?
No, I don't like it.
I sort of knew it when I asked the question.
It was a loaded question, No, don't turn to the crowd. Turn to your teammates. They're the ones you should be celebrating with, not putting your arms out to the crowd. I just don't like that pose to begin with.
Right, a new chapter in this historic rivalry in this second half. Who takes it from here? The Pies and the Blues on ABC Sport, and we've spotted the free kick here going the Pies' way. Dacos takes the advantage. It's Nick. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Pops it inside forward. 50. A little too deep down there initially for Elliott. Gets the hand pass though back from Schultz. Into the back of him, Sard. One away by Akers for the Blues, and they'll clear the area through Kemp. High ball beyond defensive 50. Chris parks himself under it. Walsh bursts by. Receives a hand pass. Nick Dacos brings him to ground. Towed forward by Sidebottom. Cripps slides in as well. Umpire watching. Waiting. Schultz extracts the football. He's lost it now. Petnek goes to gather. Little kick in very close quarters there as Akers swings it wide. Waiting for it again now. Frampton for the Pies. Loose footy here on half forward now for Collingwood. Cripps hand pass works its way back here to Nick Dacos. On the bounce for Sidebottom, the veteran Magpie. Swings it around here. It's a neat kick as Newman comes in late, but Is there something else here? Akers is still a little
Akers
proppy.
has been on all fours with his left shoulder, and the doctor couldn't get out to him because the ball was in that proximity.
In that contest with Frampton.
I think he's got winded.
Yeah.
He's really badly got one right in the guts with a really good spoil on Frampton, but left himself open.
He's set the trainer away here. Meantime, Schultz plays on for the Pies, attacking side of the wing. High ball inside 50, running start, second grab down there, pit net. But it's sharked by Bobby Hill. He can snap but not quite pull it back enough. The minor score is the first score of this second half, Collingwood's way, 6-7-43. Carlton of 3-11-29 inside the opening 90 seconds of this third quarter on ABC Sport.
Well, hopefully Pitnick got a bit of a kick up the backside at half-time as well, because he's been well beaten. He's had the 4 possessions compared to Cameron's 11, and Cameron's taken 6 marks.
Side in the long sleeves, short to the back pocket for Ollie Hollands. Kicks as hard as he can. Jeremy Howe flies on the back of Darcy Moore, but not quite as high as he normally gets. Just a regulation mark for Jeremy Howe. Chips it out to Bytel. He marks it right half forward for the Magpies. Heading to the punt road end in this third quarter. 2 minutes in, the Magpies by 14 points. Bytel into the pocket. No one flies in the end. It clears the back. And Hoskin Elliott, sliding on his knees, takes the mark. Everyone was looking for the tall timber. In the end, it was Hoskin Elliott, the only one who really read the drop of the ball best.
Not particularly great intensity from the Carlton defenders to get back and locate an opposition there. I just watched De Goey just floating inside forward 50. Probably could have been used long before that kick came in and Hoskin Elliott took a mark, and the same intense or lack of intensity at that marking contest as well.
In the right forward pocket, Will Hoskin Elliott comes in from 40 metres out. He misses right-hand side. And another minor score for the Pies to start this third quarter. Collingwood by 15 points at the 3-minute mark of the third term on ABC Sport.
Carlton moved the football from fullback. It's with Newman. Short kick to Brodie Kemp. He became a key defender just in the last year or so. Still inside defensive 50 here for the Blues. Swinging across the defensive goal mouth. Out there for Sards. The switch is on here for Carlton. He can send it wide again. Out there to Hollands. Ollie Hollands up the southern side of the MCG. It's marked by Curnow. Long way from home. He plays on now. Looks for options at centre half forward. Cripps competes with Nick Dacos. Wins it to ground. Hewitt trying to tunnel it away here. Going in hard. Maynard for the Pies. He tackles the Carlton captain. The umpire says holding the ball. So Braden Maynard's tackle rewarded. At centre half back here for the Magpies. They lead by 15 points, an equal game high lead. 6-8 plays 3-11.
Yeah, unfortunately just dove on the ball there for Cripper. That's a pretty easy one for the umpire to spot.
Maynard out to right half back where Jeremy Howe takes the mark. Kicks up the wing to Hoskin Elliott. Hewitt leads the way with 18 disposals. Nick Dacos with 17. Nick Newman with 17 for the Blues. Will Hoskin Elliott with 2 behinds next to his name. Centre wing on the Shane Warne stand side. Up towards half forward. Charging in from the side. McStay can't take the mark. Nick Dacos fires a hand pass forward to Bobby Hill. Hand pass to Elliott in the right forward pocket. Centering, kicking for Schultz. He allowed Motlop to work his way to the front. And the small forward for the Blues takes the intercepting mark. Hand pass to Walsh. Careful with his kick out of defence. He finds Harry Mackay at right half back. Collingwood by 15 points.
Well done by Motlop then. He just realised that he had a dangerous opponent in the middle of the ground and went to him and ended up marking the football rather than just filling a hole.
Mackay drives it long up to the wing. Darcy Moore knocks it back from whence it came. Nick Dacos back in ball with a hand pass. Gathered here by De Goey. Slips the Hewitt tackle. Got the hand pass away. Only as far as the Carlton opponents come wide here from Lockie Fogarty, but will come back for a free kick and a high tackle on. Is it Mackay who's won the free kick?
There was one umpire standing 20 metres directly behind the other one.
Beg your pardon, De Goey. So De Goey's received the free kick here for Collingwood. He was taken high without the football. 2 goals so far for him this evening. Long way from home though. Pops it inside, forward 50. Spoil from Kemp there on Cameron. Chris Burt's by to the outside of the boot. Curls it through. Jack Crisp with a goal to reach a new game high mark of 21 points. Collingwood's favour. 7-8-50 to Carlton. 3-11-29 at the MCG. 6 gone third term. ABC Sport, your experts Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Well, kids, that's a training drill. You set up a training where, just lob the ball sort of 20 metres out from goal, let the big fellas fly, the small fellas just attack the front of that contest, bring it to the front, crisp, right man, right position. Unfortunately, Carlton players were too worried about getting the ball themselves and actually tracking him through the contest. Trying to think who that was behind him.
Yeah, it was McGovern, unfortunately, just let him goal side and didn't check his opponent coming through, Chris, which is he's not going to want to see that on the review on Monday, that's for sure.
Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Matt Cottrell is out of this game for the Blues with a shoulder injury, so Carlton are down one man on the bench after Adam Cherrell was pulled out of the game with a hamstring issue. So big advantage to the Pies as this game stretches on there with an extra on the bench.
Thanks, Rory. Blake Acres gets the hand pass to Cripps, kicks inside 50. Mackay can't take them up, but Elijah Holland's crumbing it beautifully. Snaps on his left, but misses to the left-hand side. The Blues, 3 goals, 13. 3-12-30, I should say, to Collingwood 7-8-50. 7 minutes gone, third quarter.
Well, I'm not sure whether he had a handball across there to, I think it was Curnow.
Yeah, he was.
Goal square.
Noble beyond defensive 50. McCreary out the back there for the Pies. Sockers it out in space. Sard coming the other way. It's missed him though. Jamie Elliott's lurking. Hand pass back. McCreary kept running. Receives that ball. Pops it inside 50 now to find Bobby Hill with a leap. Wins it down there for Hoskins. He can go to an open goal and thump it into the second tier. Well, that just seemed far too easy for Collingwood. They were rumbling upfield. Bobby Hill winning it to ground, and Hoskin Elliott can finish off. He's on the board for them, and they extend that lead to 26 points. 8-8-56 to Carlton, 3-12-30. 8 gone third turn, ABC Sport, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Well, Adam Sard, you're better than that. It's the ball was on the ground. You were the first one there. You had 10 metres in the clear and just completely ran over the football. Allowed Collingwood to continue their forward foray. And Bobby Hill, really well done too. He deliberately just brought that ball to ground, put it in front of Hoskin Elliott, who picked up the ball in the goal square. So great team forward play there by Collingwood.
You could see his eyes darting, couldn't you? He knew exactly where his teammate was, and we know he's Bobby Thrills. He could have gone up and tried to take a specky, but chose the team option instead, and he'll be well applauded for that inside the 4 walls at Collingwood.
Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Will Hoskin becomes the 6th individual goal kicker for Collingwood. They've kicked the last 4 goals of the match either side of half-time. Nick Dacos with the clearance at Collingwood. Inside 50, Brody Kemp getting back for the Blues. Takes the mark 45 metres out from his defensive goal. Crowd of around 85,000 into the MCG for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Kemp sends it long around the members' side. Curnow sets himself, can't take the mark. Howell makes the spoil. Elijah Holland's hand pass to Nick Newman. Dodges and weaves through traffic. Fires a hand pass out to Matt Kennedy, the sub. Kicks up towards Curnow. At half forward, he juggles the mark in front of John Noble. He looks up, tries to centre it, looking for Cripps coming the other way. Bobby Hill back in defence. Doing it at both ends, and the Collingwood fans love that.
He's at centre half back, Bobby Hill. Moves it patiently by foot to Jeremy Howe. On to Sidebottom now in front of the main members grandstand. Still Sidebottom, who's, by the way, second on the Collingwood all-time games, just behind Scott Pendlebury. He's still, though, 72 games behind him on 328. Comes up the line now, Sidebottom, up to a contest, but McGovern comes in late to intercept. Defensive side of the wing for the Blues. They have to get going soon. They trail by 26 points. Newman, hand pass off for Sard. A bounce at half back, and they'll switch across to the southern side, or does he? So checks his kick in close quarters here towards Boyd, and Boyd comes back to the middle of the MCG to find Hewitt. Dummies their hand pass, and now goes by foot back to Walsh, who marks on the logo members' side.
Walsh laterally still to Ollie Hollands, who takes the mark at right half forward. He turns and comes inboard. A lace-out pass to brother Elijah. Still 65 metres out from goal at the city end. Spots Jesse Motlop on his own. Quaynor closes late. And with a dominant right fist, reaches over the top and spoils it out of play for a boundary throw-in. Right forward pocket for Carlton. Collingwood by 26.
Yeah, the Sunday roast won't be happy at the Holland house. The brother gave his brother a nice old mouthful when he ignored him with that short pass in the pocket.
11 gone third term. Magpies by 26. Back in it comes. Cox lays it down there. First pair of hands to it, though, is Fogarty, who's wrapped up. Hands it back to the umpire for a ball up. And up again it goes. Cripps in the ruck, done it a few times this year. Snaps quickly out of the stoppage. The Carlton skipper with a captain's goal. Outbodied Mason Cox, saw the opportunity, left foot snap from Paddy Cripps. That's why he's a Brownlow medalist and this year's Brownlow favourite. Margin back to 20. Collingwood 8-8-56. Carlton 4-12-36. 11 going third term, ABC Sport.
Well, we've seen this movie before, haven't we, where Cripps goes, all right, boys, jump on my back, I've got this. There's absolutely no way that Mason Cox should be outbodied by Patrick Cripps in that that contest. Did you say terrible, Berkey?
Terrible.
But we have seen this movie before. What I'd like to see from Carlton, though, is I want to see Sam Walsh do the same thing. I want to see George Hewitt say, righto, I'm coming with you, Cripper. You don't have to do this all on your own, but it's a great start. And it's certainly one that Carlton needed. But, yeah, pretty ordinary from Cox there. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of Carlton players have given him a mouthful on the way back to the centre bounce as well.
Hopefully his teammates have too.
Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Port Adelaide lead 15-1 at the Adelaide Oval. So the Power with 2 more goals in the third quarter to Sydney unable to score. In the middle of the ground, clearance going the way of Hewitt. Kicks up towards Motlop. Was able to beat Noble. Cuts away from Josh Dacos. Kicks out in front of Martin. He was held. Brayden Maynard had an arm around and the umpire spotted that. And Jack Martin in the left forward pocket. He has been one of the missing pieces of the puzzle for the Blues forward line in 2024. Just his second game for the season. He's out of contract at season's end. And a milestone game for him as well. Game 150.
Need to take all their chances now. Can't be 4-13, 4-14. That's not going to win this. They need to actually take every one of these chances. This is not a tough shot from there. 45-degree angle, only kicking from 30 metres out.
Second game for the season. First game since round 9 for Jack Martin. The Blues need it in the left forward pocket. Their smooth mover comes through and delivers a crucial goal. The Blues put on 2 in a couple of minutes to close the gap back to 14 points Collingwood's way. After the Magpies have kicked 4 unanswered goals either side of half-time to get out by 26 points. Collingwood 8-8-56. The Blues 5-12-42. 13 minutes gone. Third term on ABC Sport. You're with Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson.
He's a different player to what everything else that Carlton's got. Obviously, a lot of the forward line is made up of Harry and Charlie Talk, and rightly so, because they're both very, very influential players when they're on. But for Jack Martin to come back into this team, he's that silky smooth, really nicely moving player that finishes really truly in front of goal more often than not, and he just might be a little bit of an X factor for him. Hopefully he can get it going in this third term, but the rest of the season as well.
From Geraldton via Gold Coast, Jack Martin, an important goal here for the Blues. As Walsh slips a tackle at the centre clearance, wins it away here for Carlton. Back to Kennedy, he's 65 out, pops it down the corridor now as it's marked defensively by Brayden Maynard. And that time he just beat Jack Martin to the football. And the experienced defender has it here for the Pies, and they have a 14-point lead. 8-8 plays 5-12 here at the MCG.
Blues have won the last couple of clearances inside 50 as the clearing kick for Collingwood by Maynard was marked by Kennedy, but a free kick going Darcy Cameron's way. He was blocked out of it in the marking contest in the eyes of the umpire, and the Collingwood ruck will take it at right half back. Looks up towards the Shane Warne stand wing, sends it in the direction of Mason Cox, who flies, can't take the mark. McGovern makes the spoil over the top, trying to knock it out. Here's Elijah Hollands, he has another go at it, and Quain or Cox will bring him to a halt with Jack Crisp offering support. Centre of the Shane Warne stand wing, Collingwood by 14 points.
Up it goes, Pitnet with a tap to the outside for Walsh. His pocket picked by Bobby Hill. Puts on the arthritis as well. He's far too quick for Boyd. Hill kept it alive in front of the boundary lines. Skids a kick inside 50. Chincotta there for the Blues first of all. Shares it with Newman. They'll go again off half back. McGovern all the way back here to Boyd. And now his sharp kick down the line. Missed the target there, but it's okay here as Newman mops up. Newman's kicked down the outer wing again. Martin, though, was beaten by Maynard again this time. Crisp hand pass hurriedly away. Paddled forward here for the Pies. It comes to Josh Dacos. Back here again from long to half forward with McStay. Was pushed, and that's why there's a free kick. It was pushed in the back down McStay by Jacob Wiedering, and he's fallen over as well. Was there anything else? Or did he just slip over? I'm just sort of having a look at he didn't realise that he was running backwards into a Carlton opponent oncoming. Incidental contact here. McStay pops it high towards full forward. Cox Cripps was too deep in the pack. Loose footy goes through his legs. Tackle there from side bottom on Kemp. Footy comes loose, but not loose enough. The umpire says give it to me for a ball up at left full forward for the Pies, who lead by 14 points, 16 gone third term.
Brett Sprigg, Matt Clinch, Rory Campbell on the boundary. Kieran Peterson and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Tap down to Jamie Elliott, trying to spin out of traffic. Alex Chincotta got him, and the umpire will ball it up. Left forward pocket under the Olympic stand.
Side bottom just a 7 possessions in, only gaining by 29% by foot.
Cox wins down the tap, tries to follow it up, knocks it out to Long. Outbuster side bottom on Q. It's across the face of goal. It may work as Bobby Hill takes the mark. Backpedaling against Boyd. He marks in the right forward pocket, and he's going to play on, opens up the angle. Bobby goes to work and is able to put through a goal for Collingwood, his first of the match. And Collingwood come up with an answering goal after the Blues' last two at the other end. Magpies back out by 20 points, 9-8-62 to Carlton 5-12-42. 16 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, the Adelaide Oval, it's still the power by 89 points over the Sydney Swans. Third quarter action there as well.
Well, you're welcome, Collingwood supporters. Just as I mentioned, Steele Sidebottom hasn't had a great game so far. He snaps one out of the pack. I don't think he was aiming for Bobby Hill, but you know what Bobby Hill's like. It only got to land within 20 metres of where he's standing, and he'll get there. And really smart play. As the umpire was setting up the mark, he played on and snapped true on the left foot. So he looks like the most dangerous forward up either end of the ground at the moment.
Bobby Hill had a Mark of the Year contender. I fancy Zane Dersma might get him with today's effort, though, in the earlier game, North and Richmond. Waiting for a clearance here at the MCG. Hand pass from Schultz, a little wayward. Elijah Hollins gets involved. It's a hot footy. DeGoey wins it away here. Back again to Schultz off half forward. Missed its target, Josh Dacos. Akers burst by here for the Blues in defence, but he kicks a turnover straight to Jeremy Howe.
The reliable Magpie kicks out towards Bytel. It's wide of him and Ollie Hollins, and it goes out of play. Jeremy Howe closing in on game 150 next week for the Magpies. Takes on the Sydney Swans next Friday night to start round 22 of the AFL.
What I'm liking about Darcy Moore so far this game, he's not having the influence with a whole bunch of intercept marks, but he's actually playing on someone and he's stopping his opponent from being really dangerous. And if I'm critical of him at all, it's at times he gets that wrong and goes a little bit too attacking and less defending. But today he's doing a really good job of stopping his opponent.
Thrown up on the Shane Warne stand wing. Both rucks take out each other. Crisp lays the tackle on Hewitt. Ball spills to Kennedy. Umpire gives him a chance to get rid of it. Hand pass to Pitnet. Kicks up towards Motlop. Can't take the mark with Maynard there. Ollie Hollins' hand pass opens it up for Owies. At left half forward. Kicks to Mackay against two. Darcy Moore can't juggle the mark. Slapped on by Fogarty. Moore gets back there for Collingwood. Quick hand pass to Howe. Motlop got him. Owies follows up. Still no whistle. Carlton fans are going to lose it. It won't matter. Lockie Fogarty will bounce through his second. Once more, some great defensive work by the Carlton small forwards, and Lockie Fogarty and Jesse Motlop put enough pressure on that the damn well broke. Carlton closed the gap once more, a 14-point lead Collingwood's way, 9-8-62 to the Blues, 6-12-48. 20 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Small forward, Craft 101. Berkey, you mentioned it before, what the little blokes are there for, and it's tackling pressure. We see Motlop affect it. Moe's coming in, and geez, he got crunched in that effort as well. And Fogarty was just clever enough to put the ball on the boot softly on his left and drill it home. When the big blokes aren't getting it done, Carlton have actually been able to rely pretty well on their small forwards, and there's three of them involved in that play there. They'll absolutely love celebrating that one.
Bearing in mind they're down a rotation as well, the Blues, having made their sub Adam Chera the hamstring, so Matt Kennedy's in, but they've lost Matt Cottrell to a shoulder concern. So down a man in this game, down by 14 points. Clearance goes the way of the Pies. Josh Dacos, hand pass wide to Maynard from left half back, over the top of McCreary, and out in space. Nick Newman is tackled over the line by Ned Long, so it's going to be a throw-in between wing and half forward in Collingwood's attacking half. We've just hit someone here in the third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
He played a couple of years for the Hawks. Ned Long was picked up in the 2024 mid-season rookie draft. Thrown in, Cameron down to Pendlebury in game 400 off the outside of the boot. Long to DeGoey against two. Shortly gave away a free kick against Wiedering. Jordan Ngoe flying early before acceptances. And the Carlton fullback will take the free kick. Around the back to Sard. Collingwood by 14 points. The short pass to Matt Kennedy, who marks at right half back for Carlton, members side. Collingwood 9-8-62 to the Blues 6-12-48. Sard receives it back from Kennedy.
Again, he's got nothing to go to. Manufacture something or go long down the line.
He does go long. There's the big woof up towards the logo on the members side. Maynard slaps it back, and so too does Boyd for the Blues. But first there is Hoskin Elliott. Goes down the pipe from half back. Second Mike McStay can't reel it in. Hand pass on though inside 50. Schultz just hacks it out of the air. Wobbles all the way towards full forward to go. He is down there and sees it go out of bounds for a throw in alongside that left behind post. So the Pies keep a 14-point lead here. 9-8 plays 6-12. 22 gone third quarter, ABC Sport.
A couple of Collingwood players come sprinting from the ground because Nick Dacos had been stuck off. We haven't had a stoppage for a few moments, so he and John Noble sneak back on. As it's thrown back in, Mason Cox in a tangle with Pitnet, spills it down to Cripps, the Carlton captain in the last line of defence, bounces off, lost it, McCreary volleys it through from behind. Just couldn't quite control it. To the left-hand side of the left goalpost. Almost at his acrobatic best, but Collingwood lead by 15 points. 22 minutes gone, third term, while the Power still hold a 95-point advantage. Can't think of the last time Springy team on top of the ladder has lost by 100 points.
Just extraordinary. There's a cricket scoreboard there at that level. Could be a cricket score.
Yes.
On the Sydney Swans there as Kemp looks to evade Bobby Hill. Kicks for distance down the outer side. Come off the chest of Chincotta. Mopping up is Nick Dacos for Collingwood. High ball back inside 50. Cox plants the feet. Wearing comes in with a spoil. Schultz rides a bump. Needs a neat hand pass. Loose footy picked up by Ngoe. We'll see a free kick. That will go the Magpies' way. It's coming back in that chain, but it's going to be that man, Lockie Schultz, the former Docker. The line-up here from 40 out on an angle just better than 45 degrees.
Jordan Boyd just got in his back then. Because Schultz was able to effect a handball. It was just Jordan Boyd a little bit sloppy, a little bit lazy, just leaning into his back, and Schultz is going to line up for goal from 35 out.
He's kicked 11 goals in his past 6 games, Lockie Schultz, and this would arrest some of the Carlton momentum in this third term. Schultz on the approach. It's a neat-looking set shot, and there it is. The Magpie Army are up again. They're out by 21 points. 10-9-69 plays Carlton. 6-12-48. 24 gone third term. ABC Sport this Saturday night. Your experts Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Against the small Collingwood players getting on the scoreboard, causing all the damage. Cox brought the ball to ground and then they just swarmed at his feet, and yeah, it was probably a good decision there by the umpire to pay a free kick. He did get into his back and made the most of the opportunity, which is what we haven't seen Carlton doing up the other end with 6 goals, 12. These centre bounces now are crucial because it's really difficult to transfer the ball easily from one end of the ground to the other. So if you can start with the ball going down your end, you're more likely to score. So let's see what happens here in the middle. You've got Pendlebury against Paddy Cripps.
The Blues have kicked 3 of the last 5 goals of the match, but can't get any closer than 14 points. Collingwood back out by 20 in the middle of the ground. Cameron wins down the tap. Cripps tries to knock it out for Carlton. To go, he pinches it. Hand pass straight to Pitnet. Tackle by Nick Dacos. No hand pass away. Umpire lets them play as it spills out to Kennedy and Noble.
To go, he hopping badly on that left ankle. Can't put it on the ground. Trying to get off the ground as quickly as he can.
Trying to get out of the stoppage, as he hasn't played the last few weeks with a groin injury. The trainer coming out to him. A clearing kick by Kennedy, but the umpire has stopped play. It's coming back, and Kennedy was dragged down by Darcy Cameron, so no advantage in his eyes the Blues way, as Hewitt kicked it inside 50, and will come back to Matt Kennedy, who was the sub. Got activated with Adam Chera with a soft tissue injury once more. Matt Cottrell is out of the match as well, so the Blues one down on the bench. Collingwood by 21 points.
Kennedy called to play on. Kicks now inside 50. Kerno was outnumbered. Spoiled away by Hoskin Elliott through the legs of Pendlebury. Paddled forward here by the Blues and Fogarty. And again, they pile in from all angles. And the umpire will ball it up on that half-back line for the Pies. On the boundary, Rory Campbell.
Geordie De Goey just came off and hopped straight down to the change rooms. The Pies might have just pulled the trigger on their sub, Patrick Lipinski, on for Ned Long off. There's just a bit of consternation around the bench, but I'll confirm when I can.
Hewitt goes inside 50. It's come off hands. I think some of the fans might think it's gone through for a goal, but there's at least one touch on that. They're going to check this just to make sure. It did roll unimpeded towards the goal line, but I think before that, it had come off the pack.
Well, I hope that paperwork didn't go in too soon, because the way that Jordan De Goey just hopped straight off the ground, it looked like he rolled his ankle quite significantly and straight down.
Any deviation here off Jeremy Howe? I reckon it's just rolled off his knuckles.
Yep, touched.
So yeah, it is going to be touched after a very brief review. A minor score here for the Blues. They'll be 6-13, or are they 6-13-49. Collingwood who are 10-9 at 69. 27 minutes having elapsed in this third quarter.
Jeremy Howe brings Collingwood back into play. Kicks out to the members' side. Hoskin Elliott uses his body against Elijah Hollands. Can't take them up, but he's first back onto it. And left half back. Kicks the Pies around the wing. So Lipinski is on. So Collingwood might have decided Jordan De Goey is out straight away with that left leg injury. Lipinski into the action and getting involved with the blue boots tonight. Kicks up towards Cameron and Wiedering. Wiedering had hands to it, couldn't hang on. Sard with a quick hand pass away. Hewitt with a careful kick around the boundary line. Finds Nick Newman.
Pies by 20 points. Newman's kick up to find his skipper Cripps on the members' wing of the MCG. Down towards the flank now as Howe came in late that time on Fogarty. Umpire says play on. They go inside forward 50. Curnow leads up and marks. It was nice from Matt Owies to have the vision that spearhead Charlie Curnow. There's a tricky angle here. 45 from goal, an angle slightly tougher than 45 degrees.
Yeah, yet to kick a goal tonight, Charlie. He's had the 6 disposals, the 5 marks, working up the ground early. In the second half, he's been a lot closer to goal, trying to get some goals out of him. And really important one here. It's kicking right from 50.
The two-time reigning Collingwood medalist and this year's leader. Studded approach, kicks from 50, on its way, comes back, hits the post. Oh, Carlton needed that. 6-14-50. They trail the Pies by 19 points. It's Collingwood 10-9 at 69. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
So a bit of hoo-ha going on with this substitution. So Geordie De Goey's just gone into the change rooms. The Pies look to have filled out the paperwork for Ned Long to come off, but they seem to have been able to pull it at the last second. Maybe it hadn't been entered into the system or something like that, but at this stage it appears Geordie De Goey off, Patrick Lipinski in.
And do you think it's a hamstring, Rory?
It looks... Look, he was hopping off. It looked like it could have been an ankle, but it could easily have been somewhere higher up the leg.
Sard inside 50. Martin can't take the mark. Pendlebury onto it. He's shortly taken high. Eventually the umpire says no, and Sam Walsh laying the tackle will pull it up. Inside the attacking 50 for the Blues. 45 metres out from goal as the Collingwood fans see the replay on the big screen. Cripps is doing the ruck work against Cameron. The Carlton captain, he's shoulder to the wheel as he tries to work it down to Sam Walsh, and he's locked up. Still 45 metres out from the Blues goal at the city end.
Up it goes. Out of the ruck. Cameron helps himself. Kick partly smothered. Ricochets down towards Pendlebury. He goes off half back in his 400th game. On the half volley. A pick up there. Bobby Hill has a couple of bounces on the outer wing. Now a third bounce. Sard's chasing him in vain. A fourth bounce for Hill. Sends his kick inside 50 and out of bounds on the full. Well, that was the most spectacular build-up to what was ultimately a wasted disposal from Bobby Hill, the Norm Smith medalist. It's Collingwood here by 19 points. 10-9 plays 6-14 as we approach the half-hour mark of the third quarter.
Mason Cox was all on his own.
Yeah, they can't pull away, the Magpies. They're having the opportunities, but Carlton's credit, they're in there. And as we know, in modern-day football, 19 points is not very much.
Nathan Burke, Kieran Peterson, Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg, Rory Campbell with you on ABC Sport. The Blues are having to work hard at half-back. Sard under pressure. Hand pass down low to Akers. He's under pressure. Lipinski and Bobby Hill lay the tackle, and the umpire will ball it up. Hard against the boundary, right half forward for the Pies. They lead by 19 points. Approaching half an hour gone in the third term. Did in fact clear the boundary line, so the umpire will toss it back in. 55 metres out from Collingwood's goal at this punt road end. Thrown in. Kennedy this time doing the ruck work against Cameron. Sharks it straight to the boundary line. Umpire says throw it in. Meanwhile at the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide lead by 88 points. So a couple of goals to the Swans. 17-8, 110 to Sydney 3-4, 22. Approaching three-quarter time there as well.
We've got the close one here at the MCG. Carlton would love another one here before three-quarter time. Cameron again helps himself out of the ruck. Snaps a high ball inside 50. Back with the flight. It was courageous down there from Elijah Hollands. It's socketed forward, though, back to fullback where it's gathered by Ollie Hollands. And he can just bump it beyond defensive 50 here for the Blues. Frampton with a reach. Couldn't control the mark. Josh Dacos sockers here. Bobby Hill centering one of on Hoskin Elliott. And he marks on his chest. 30 out. Slight angle left of centre.
He holds his width, Hoskin Elliott. He never got sucked into the contest there. He trusted that his teammates were going to win it and stayed in dangerous space. It's something that at the moment Collingwood are just doing a little bit better than what Carlton are doing around the stoppage. They're holding their width. They're lengthening with their forwards. The Carlton defenders are just getting sucked to the ball, and it's been able to spit out uncontested to the likes of Hoskin Elliott on the wing. 1-2 so far tonight for one of last year's premiership players. Will Hoskin Elliott makes no mistake this time. 2 goals tonight for him. And the Pies have momentum as we approach three-quarter time. 11-9-75. Carlton 6-14-50. It's the Pies by 25 as we approach three-quarter time here at the MCG. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, footy's not a tough game when you can stand 35 metres out from goal all by yourself just for a minute or two, and then teammate finds you, hits you on the chest, and turn around and kick a goal. I'm not sure what the Carlton defenders were doing. There's been some really, really strange choices by them tonight, and they paid for that one because Hoskin Elliott is just a far too talented and dangerous a player just to be left alone to stand all inside his forward 50.
5-3 Collingwood's way in this third quarter. After scores are level at quarter time, Collingwood by 13 points at half time. They've got out on a couple of occasions. The Pies, 26 was the biggest margin. The Blues have pulled it back a few times to 14. Pendlebury gets the clearance. Quick clearance inside 50. Flying Mason Cox can't take the mark. Mitch McGovern did well. Hand pass to Boyd. His kick ricochets off Sam Walsh into the left back pocket for the Blues, and slides out of the bounds over the boundary line. A throw in with Collingwood leading by 25 points.
Pendlebury's had 10 handball receives tonight, so they're looking for him, and even Paddy Cripps is looking for him. Gets the ball out of the middle and handballs it straight to him.
Down to Rory Campbell shortly. The dying seconds of this third term. The longest quarter of the night so far. Back in it comes. Mackay versus Cox. Cleared away through Elijah Hollands, and it goes out of towards the boundary line on the three-quarter time siren. Very quickly, Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Just confirming, Jordan De Goey's injury was a hamstring injury, guys. He's made his way up onto the bench, and he's not taking any further part in the game.
Concerning, given he only returned last week after missed last week, in fact, with that groin injury, so returned this week as one of 3 premiership players back in Collingwood's team. Alas, they do hold a 25-point lead here, the Magpies, at the final change. The goal kickers so far, Will Hoskin Elliott has 2. De Goey did have 2 before being subbed out. 2 also for Mason Cox. Singles to Schultz, McStay, Bobby Hill, Jack Crisp and Nick Dacos. Meanwhile for Carlton, a couple also for Lockie Fogarty. Singles to Paddy Cripps, Harry Mackay, Elijah Hollands and Jack Martin.
Even in game 400, Scott Pendlebury still getting clarification from the umpires at three-quarter time. The Magpies hold a 25-point advantage. Meanwhile, at the Adelaide Oval, it's still all Port Adelaide. The Power leading by 89 points as three-quarter time is there as well. 17-9-111 to the Swans, 3-4-22. So Port Adelaide with 4-2 in that third quarter. 4 goals to Mitch Georgiades and Willie Rioli. 3 goals to Charlie Dixon. The Power had 71 on the board before Sydney even scored. Such a lopsided affair. There is an ABC call available via the ABC Listen app. Great to have your company on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Roy and HG. This medal-winning duo are no strangers to the City of Lights. But, Mesa me, it's not just the Olympic Games. It's the culture, the fashion, the politics, the art, the opera, plus BMX bikes and weightlifting. That's people, medals and cheese daily during the Olympics across the nation, teetering on the brink of joyful chaos on ABC Radio and on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
So De Goey's received the free kick here for Collingwood. He was taken high without the football. Long way from home though, pops it inside, forward 50. Spoil from Kemp there on Cameron. Chris Burns by to the outside of the boot, curls it through. Jack Crisp with a goal. McCreary out the back there for the Pies. Sockers it out in space. Sard coming the other way. It's missed him though. Damien Elliott's lurking. Hand pass back. McCreary kept running. Receives that ball. Pops it inside 50 now to find Bobby Hill with a leap. Wins it down there for Hospital. He can go to an open goal and thump it into the second tier. Up again it goes. Cripps in the right. Done it a few times this year. Snaps quickly out of the stoppage. The Carlton skipper with a captain's goal.
Fox wins down the tap, tries to follow it up, knocks it out to Long. Outbuster side bottom on Q. It's across the face of goal. It may work as Bobby Hill takes the mark. Backpedaling against Boyd. He marks in the right forward pocket and he's going to play on. Opens up the angle. Bobby goes to work and is able to put through a goal for Collingwood.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The sounds of Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Collingwood leading by 25 points over the Blues, looking to keep their premiership defence alive. 11-9-75 to Carlton 6-14-50. In Scott Pendlebury's 400th game, he becomes the sixth player to achieve the milestone. Well, the Blues had lost 3 of their last 4 coming into tonight. Bit of work for Michael Voss's Chargers to do at three-quarter time. Matt Clinch and Brett Sprigg calling the action. Rory Campbell down on the boundary. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson with you on ABC Sport.
I've just been looking around trying to find how Carlton can actually change the fortunes, actually get back into this game. And you look at their goal kickers, Cripps, Hollands, Martin, Fogarty's got 2. Mackay got 1, which was a small person's goal right at the end of the first quarter. So to rely on their big fellas to break loose and actually take a few marks and kick a few goals, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen today. So to me, they need to really run and gun, take this game on, get the ball even just any way possible, scrub it inside forward 50 and let their small players go to work, because that's really the only way they look like kicking a big enough score without relying on their big fellas. So Carlton need to take the game on. Collingwood, they're playing some really good football at the moment. I love they've got a really good balance between offence and defence there. They're shutting Carlton's ball movement down. They're hard enough around the contest. Tackles that quarter 21-8 in favour of the Magpies. And when they go inside 50, they're making smarter choices. They're finding free players inside forward 50 occasionally. Hoskin Elliott's been on the end of a couple. Some really good, if they do go long, they've got really good front and centre representation. And we saw Chris kick a goal that way. Schultz has gotten himself front and centre a couple of times, and Bobby Hill just looks dangerous whether it's in the air or on the ground. So at the moment, not quite sure how the Blues can get back into this, Kez.
I think it has to start around the middle. I mentioned through that third term that they just seem to be spreading harder and faster from contests. So when they're winning the clearances, they're equalising numbers forward of the ball much faster than what Carlton are doing, and it's allowing, as you rightly said, them to find space inside their forward 50. And it hasn't always been, really nice, perfect ball going inside. It's hit the deck, or they've been able to get out the back, or something like that. But it has to start around the middle. I think Carlton would be really disappointed with their tackle numbers. As you already said, it was 21-8 in that third term alone when the heat probably got put on them at half time. Last time that they played, Collingwood ended up winning by 34 tackles overall in the game, and at the moment it's looking on track to be something similar. So not only aren't they winning the ball, but then they're not able to affect any sort of pressure, tackle pressure, source pressure, like what they've been able to pride themselves on, particularly early in the season. So they need to find a way to get back to that level of football, and I'd love to see the big blokes up forward start to clunk a few and get really involved.
Collingwood have only lost once in 2024 when leading at three-quarter time. They lead by 25 points. As we enter the final term, a crowd of around 85,000 into the MCG. Pitnet and Cameron. Tap comes down the way of Pendlebury. Head over the footy. No whistle as it spills out the way of Hewitt. He somehow gets boots a ball. Out to Bytel of Collingwood. Half pass to Crisp inside 50. On the lead, Will Hoskin-Elliott takes the mark. The delivery inside 50 has been impressive, Collingwood. And Will Hoskin-Elliott having spent a lot of his career on the wing, playing more as a natural forward.
Well, that was a lovely lead and a beautiful kick hitting right towards his face, and that's the best place to kick it, because if they drop it, it hits him in the nose, they won't drop it next time. And on full pelt lead, player right on his backside, marks the ball out in front. It's a throwback to the good old days of football.
One of 4 players with 2 goals of the match. His shot on goal is off to the left-hand side, and Jacob Wiedering trying to rush it through. Hang on, a free kick for a hold, and it's going to go Collingwood's way. Mason Cox will have it up against the left behind post. As we look for the replay, he was wrestling with Pitnet, and Mason Cox has tried to fire on goal, and in the end through for a minor score. Collingwood by 26 points. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
During that three-quarter time break, Geordie De Goey headed back down to the change rooms on crutches. His body language didn't look too dejected or anything. Maybe the adrenaline's still running, but down back into the change rooms on crutches.
Mitch McGovern is taken over the boundary line this time by Jack Vitale. So that was a rather lacklustre exit from D50 by the Blues, who trail now by an equal game high 26-point lead. That's as big as it got after half-time in Collingwood's favour. They lead by that same mark here. 11-10 plays 6-14. Umpire heaves it back in members' side. Cameron competes with Pitnet. Bursting through McCreery, back to Chris. He's tackled by Walsh, brings it to ground. Bobby Hill fires out the hand pass. In fact, it was Elliott back to McCreery. Pulls it across the attacking goal mouth here. Now it's Bobby Hill, back to Hoskin Elliott. He shucks one way, now the other, and he's tackled by Nick Newman over the boundary line for a throw-in deep at the city end. So 11-10 plays 6-14. Collingwood here by 26 points, 2.5 gone final term, ABC Sport.
McCreery really adds something to this Collingwood side. It's just his pressure and his speed, and he can play in a vital role for them.
Cox wins down the tap to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Jamie Elliott, who fires towards goal. His first of the night. And the Magpies with the all-important first goal of the final term to stretch it out as wide as it's been. A 32-point lead in the opening 3 minutes of the final term. 12-10-82 to Carlton 6-14-50, and Scott Pendlebury in his 400th game turning provider to Jamie Elliott.
There's something so classy about a player that can just stand up in a tackle, and instead of just handballing to no one just to get the ball moving, not be pinged, he gets spun around and he can hear the voice of his teammate Jamie Elliott, stand up in that tackle and deliver into a position where his teammate runs straight onto it and straight into goal. It's such a classy way to play, and not every player can do it. He doesn't have the strength in the legs, a little bit of experience. As I said, don't put the ball on the ground, deliver it perfectly to his teammate. Well done, Scott Pendlebury.
He's been tackled by 3 Carlton players, and none of them could prevent him from handballing the ball.
Another clearance goes way of the Pies. This time Scott Pendlebury goes inside forward 50. The intercept mark is taken by Mitch McGovern. Your experts, Hall of Famer Nathan Burke and Carlton skipper Kez Peterson, as Walsh marks back edge of the square, swings it wide in front of the Shane Warne stand where it's marked by Ollie Hollins. He wheels and goes now. Might work out okay here this time with Owies. Has Hewitt for company. Shares it in close quarters there with Chincotta. High ball inside 50 here for the Blues. Up goes Curnow. Spoil from Darcy Moore. Owies fires the hand pass on the ricochet. Back to Elijah Hollins, who goes from the outside of the boot. Superb check side finish from the pocket. Elijah Hollins for his second. Carlton fans would love to see more of that. Margin back to 26. It's the Pies 12-10-82. Carlton 7-14-56. 4.5 gone final term. ABC Sport, your experts Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
We're getting nothing too flash about that goal. It's just get the ball inside forward 50, put an enormous pressure on the Collingwood defenders, get numbers in there. Most importantly, they've got to get as many people in there as they possibly can when the ball hits the ground. If it gets out, then there might be some gaps through the middle, but once they get the ball in there, they've got the small players. Owies hasn't had a big game tonight, but we know he can kick some goals. Martin Hollins has kicked a couple. Fogarty's kicked a couple. So keep it on that ground inside that forward 50.
Nathan Burke, Karen Peterson, Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg and Rory Campbell with you on ABC Sport with that last setup from Scott Pendlebury to Jamie Elliott, who passes Tom Hawkins as the AFL's leading all-time assist scoring player. Patrick Cripps gets the clearance in the middle of the ground for the Blues. Kicks up towards half-forward. No mark claim for Carlton. Crisp at half-back for Collingwood to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Maynard. Up towards Jamie Elliott, half-forward. Sard makes the spoil. Nick Dacos races after it. Breaks away from Sard. Hand pass to Bobby Hill. Keeps it alive to Elliott. Back to Nick Dacos, a third involvement. Inside 50. Lipinski wrestling. Almost pulled in the mark against Newman. Newman pinches it and kicks back. Knew he had support with Blake Acres, who can clear for the Blues.
Acres will switch back to the members' side here beyond defensive 50. Mackay can't quite trap it, but it bounces out of bounds for a throw-in. 6 minutes played, final term. Collingwood by 26 points. The game is not done yet. In modern terms, we do see sides reel in 5-6 goal leads. The question is, do Carlton have it in them? Down a rotation. Mind you, Collingwood also without Jordan De Goey. Here's Kennedy, who was the sub. McCreary tackles him, dispossesses him. So McCreary at half forward here, wins possession back for Collingwood as they keep this 26-point lead.
Good tackle number 5 for McCreary.
One of 3 inclusions for the Magpies tonight by McCreary. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Hoskin Elliott sets himself. Mitch McGovern with a great mark. Flying from 3 deep is able to take the mark. Jacob Wiedering a little worse for wear as he stretches out a cramp. In the left back pocket is Mitch McGovern. Kicks the Blues up the members' side. Mackay puts the block on Frampton. Allows Jack Martin to take the mark. Can he quickly transition here because Curnow has space. The kick is out in front of he and Quaynor. Charlie Curnow gathers, breaks the Quaynor tackle, fends off Pendlebury. Hand pass to Matt Kennedy. He can't do likewise. Josh Dacos lays the tackle. He somehow drops it to his boot. Kicks to Sam Walsh at half forward. Hand pass to Curnow. Inside 50. On the bounce to Ollie Hollands. He can't gather. Side bottom for Collingwood. A clearing kick up to the wing. Jamie Elliott races after it. Taps it away from Jim Cotter. Looking for a free kick. Doesn't get it. Kemp slides in for the Blues. Hand pass away as they link through Sard.
And now Walsh marks middle of the MCG. Wheels and goes now wide to find Elijah Hollands. He marks 55 from goal. In that right forward pocket now. Pops it closer to home, but Maynard cuts across Martin and thumps it out of bounds for a throw-in. It remains Collingwood 12-10-82. Carlton 7-14-56. 8 minutes played, final term. Are there a few twists and turns left yet? Collingwood might just be able to kill the game. Back in it comes here. Quaynor was clean bowled. Frampton wrapped up by Mackay and will ball it up again at the punt road end. The end to which the Blues are attacking.
Collingwood by 26 points. It's from the ball up pit net and Cameron knocked down to Maynard. Elijah Hollands tries to have a firing shot on goal. Chin Cotter works it back to Sard. Almost run down by McStay into the pocket. Back with a fly Pendlebury. Spills down to Cripps. Hard against the boundary. Impossible shot. It slams into the right goal post. And the post is still shaking as the Carlton captain tries to shake the Blues back to life. Collingwood leading by 25 points.
We've had a couple of vital ones hit the post today, the Blues. I think Acres hit the post, Curnow's hit the post, now Cripps has hit the post.
A total of 7-15 for them, so left a few out there, Carlton. As Darcy Moore drives it beyond defensive 50 here, it's marked by Wiedering. So Carlton lock the footy in, their attacking half. They must make the most of every opportunity here if they're to be a sniff. Wiedering retreats back to the members' side logo for Newman. Newman pops it back wide here looking for Boyd. The mid-season rookie of a few years ago, Jordan Boyd in the long sleeves. Drives it long inside 50 now. Out there with 3-on-2. Howe cuts across. Martin brought to ground by Jeremy Howe. Loose footy gathered first by Acres. Needs a hand pass off here. Kennedy was dispossessed. This time by Chris, but now it's left behind. Maynard scrips it off the deck. It's come to Walsh. He can gather. Might need support though. Works it back to his skipper Cripps. And now Kennedy off to Acres. Off here again to Fogarty. Wide back to Owies. He can snap from 35 out. And the finish as well. Important goal for Matt Owies and the Blues to keep them alive. Margin back to 19 points. It's the Magpies 12-10-82. Carlton 8-15-63. 10 gone. Final turn. ABC Sport, your experts, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Well, great news for the Blues. They got a goal. Really bad news because Charlie Curnow is hobbling off the ground, being aided by a trainer. We'll get Rory to keep an eye on that one. But again, just get the ball inside 50 and let your little blokes go to work. It was a great chain of handball by the Blues. They were under pressure. Collingwood were doing the right thing, but in the end, it was a lovely snap by Owis that keeps them alive.
Just having a look at the replay.
He went over
his left
ankle clinch, I reckon.
Ankle. Yes, you're right. As he just crashed into Braden Maynard. So it's been goalless tonight. Charlie Curnow. Carlton looking to try and find a spark. Back to within 19 points. Pitting it down to Cripps. Free kick, not officiating umpire. Carlton free kick. And it is going the way of Patrick Cripps. So the last 2 goals of the match, the way of the Blues. Cripps fires it inside 50. In from the side, Mason Cox spoils it down. Quaynor knocks it on. Racing after it, Elijah Holland. Hand pass away to Nick Newman. Kicks Carlton inside 50. Mackay wrestling with Frampton. And Billy Frampton gets rid of him. Takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood 15 metres out from his offensive goal at the punt road end. Collingwood by 19 points.
Harry's got to be stronger than that.
Frampton plays on beyond offensive 50. Up goes McStay through his hands. Kemp with the spoil from behind. Ricochets out of bounds for a throw-in. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Charlie Curnow's just headed down to the change rooms. It does appear to be that ankle injury. Looks like his boot was a bit loose, but he's headed down with the Blues medical staff.
Oh, both teams will count the cost of this game. No Jordan Ngoe for the Pies, off with a hamstring. The Blues have lost Chera with a hamstring, Cottrell the shoulder, and now Charlie Curnow with that concern as well. So thanks, Rory, for that. Here's Lipinski. Into the back of him goes Ollie Hollands, and the umpire will board up again on the members' side logo. 12 gone final term. Pies by 19 points.
Struggled tonight, the Blues, to get too many one-on-one looks for Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow. Cripps doing the ruck work. He was held. In fact, it was Pitnet doing the ruck work, but Cripps kind of follows up and in the end gets a free kick for a tug of the back of the jumper. Chips it barely 15 to Matt Kennedy. He's at left half forward. He wheels onto his right, into the pocket, looking for Jack Martin. Lost his footing against Maynard. Spills to the back. Motlop, in the end, hand pass it straight to Moore. Hand pass to Collingwood to Bytel. Hard against the boundary. Kick partially smothered. Ollie Hollands lunging forward. Long bumped off it. Schultz in the defensive 50. Hand pass to Bytel. Every number is needed as he gets the hand pass to Pendlebury. Around the body towards McStay. Nudged underneath it by Wiedering. The Carlton defender takes the intercepting mark on the members' wing. Call to play on.
Does so now. Hurries his kick high inside 50. McKay running start. Reaching from the back. Can't pull it down. 60 out from goal now. Hewitt shrugs a tackle. Pops it back inside 50. But Howe floats across to intercept. And Collingwood lock the footy in their defensive 50. And hang on to a 19-point lead. 13 gone final term here at the MCG. For your Saturday night on ABC Sport. Howe goes back to the wing to a 2-on-2. One-handed grab from Wiedering. Did well. Rebounds the footy from that part of the ground. Centering ball back here for Akers from the bullseye. Pops it back to right half forward. Martin got the best of Darcy Moore. Second White reels it in. He's 55 from goal now. Jack Martin pops it down the pipe. We're leading up again. Owies slides in to take the chest mark. Owies is 40 out from goal. A slight angle right of centre.
It's gone up a notch here, Berkey, I reckon. Yeah. The pressure, the tackles, just the intensity as well, and surely gone up a couple of notches. But it was Jacob Wiedering, a couple of intercept possessions, and then just the confidence and the courage in a way to go back through the middle of the ground, open up the Collingwood defenders, has led to Matt Owies having an uncontested mark inside forward 50.
Yeah, Darcy Moore should have punched the footy. Small things like that, not getting the basics right, will cost you in this game.
Chance for back-to-back goals for Matt Owies. He kicks from 45. It's fading off to the left-hand side, where it's marked by Jeremy Howe, and no change to the score. The Blues have kicked 2 in a row, though. But it is Collingwood who leads here by 19 points. 15 gone final quarter.
Howe out to Jack Crisp. Awkward ball in the air for he and Sam Walsh. It spills down the way of Bytel. Hand pass to Noble. Right half back for Collingwood. Kicks up to Elliot McGovern. Mitch McGovern being held. And we'll get the free kick centre wing on the members' side. So it's taken a toll for both sides tonight. Adam Chera was subbed out in the second quarter. Matt Kennedy came in. Matt Cottrell was ruled out of the match, and now Charlie Curnow off the ground. So the Blues down to 2 fit players on the bench. Kick up inside 50 for Carlton. No mark claimed, and Quaynor is locked up by George Hewitt. Jordan Ngoe off at the third quarter with a left hamstring injury for Collingwood. Pat Lipinski into the action from the throw up. Pendlebury stops it forward. Boyd, was he taken high? He was certainly held. No, a Collingwood free kick. This time it's Jamie Elliott who was tackled by Boyd when not in possession. Gets the free kick at right half back for the Pies, who lead by 19.
He goes wide to find Bytel. He had 25 touches last week, Jack Bytel, against the Tigers. Here's number 14 coming up for him. Down the line again for Schultz, who had the arms chopped. So a free kick for the Pies. 19-point lead. The game is by no means done yet, but their season remains on the line here, Collingwood. If the Blues can surge late, make a game of it, but Schultz sends the Pies towards 50. Up goes McStay. Strong contested grab, front of the pack. He's 60 out though. They start to trot back, but he does go short. The option he had there was Bytel, and Bytel slides into mark deep in the right forward pocket. 40 out.
Yeah, Bytel's worked pretty well this game. He stays out wide, and they use him out wide as much as they possibly can. Collingwood aren't afraid. It's almost back to the old Mick Malthouse days. If they need to chip it around the boundary line, they do, and he's often the beneficiary of that.
Bytel will kick from just beyond 50 in the end. Tough angle right hand side of the ground. Brings it back from the right-hand side, but not good enough to register a score. So it remains Collingwood 12-10-82. That's their... Well, only kicked the one goal in this fourth term so far. The Blues have kicked a couple. They're 8-15-63. Margin remains 19 points in the Pies' favour.
The voice of Brett Sprigg alongside Matt Clinch, Kieran Peterson, Nathan Burke and Rory Campbell with you on ABC Sport. The Blues through Kemp up to the wing for Owie. Spoiled away by Braden Maynard. And the reliable Collingwood tough man spoils it out of play, much to the delight of the Collingwood fans on the Shane Warne stand side. Crowd posted at 86,879, with the Pies leading by 19 points. So not quite the record crowd which we thought we could possibly get of 95 plus for a home and away fixture. But once more, another great showing between these two sides. From the throw-in, spills down the way of Kennedy and Nick Dacos. It's knocked on towards Sam Walsh at half-back for the Blues. George Hewitt too slow. Jamie Elliott lays the tackle. No prior opportunity, says the umpire. And a ball up at left half forward for Collingwood. Rory Campbell on the boundary.
Charlie Curnow's just emerged from the change rooms. He's got the boots on. He's done a quick run through. He's given himself a spray with a water bottle. He looks like he's ready to go back on.
This is welcome news for Carlton fans, I'm sure, and for Michael Voss.
Jamie Elliott thought it was holding the ball. He did the big wind-up holding the ball.
Lipinski has a tackle on Kennedy. Footy comes loose here. Schultz knocks it back inside forward 50. McStay out to meet it now. Overrun by Nick Dacos. Paddled forward back to Lipinski. And now Crisp with a check side towards full forward. Oscar Elliott follows up as he was tackled by Kemp. But it's over for a behind. He was tackled over the behind line that time. Will Hoskin Elliott. So it is 20 points that margin. The Magpies lead, 18 gone, final term, 86,000 plus the crowd.
So at the moment, Patrick Cripps and Charlie Curnow both off the ground for the Blues as Newman kicks out to Owies. He marks it left half back. 18 minutes gone, final term. Collingwood by 20 points. The kick in the middle of the ground for Hewitt. Takes the mark.
Just haven't been able to get some really fast movement through the middle of the ground. All of their attacks have come from out wide. Collingwood's effort of clogging up that centre corridor has been outstanding.
Short to Matt Kennedy. Kicks out to Kemp, who marks on the Shane Warne stand wing. Hand pass to the run of Sam Walsh. He gets the right half forward for Carlton. Mackay out on the lead. Two to compete with. Frampton through his hands. Motlop against the boundary. He's going to find Jack Martin. Only metres out from the goal line. Darcy Moore trying to desperately race back. But the Blues had the avenue to goal, and Jack Martin is going to pop through his second. And the Blues are still in it. There's a pulse at the 19-minute mark of the final term. Carlton have kicked the last 3 goals of the match. Collingwood by 14 points. The Magpies did take the foot off the gas last week against the Tigers. 12-11-83 to Carlton 9-15-69. Nathan Burke and Kieran Peterson with you on ABC Sport.
Desperately unlucky for the Collingwood defenders there. They went 2-on-1 in the air against Harry Mackay, and Jesse Motlop was just clever enough to roll to the back of the contest. Ball cleared all 3 players who contested it in the air, and Jesse Motlop, a bit like a road runner, just took off. It was good enough to hit Jack Martin, who was almost all on his own in the square. So did the team thing. Jesse Motlop hit Jack Martin. Easy goal for Carlton.
Darcy Moore, I've been praising you today, but that was poor defence. You've got to realise there's a guy standing in the goal square and you're the closest, so he's yours.
They kicked the last 3 goals. They're going to need to get 3 more here, the Blues, to recover the lead. Cripps with a clearance. Back here towards Kemp, bouncing off half back. He can send it long inside, forward 50. 14 points is that margin. Mackay floats up in front, can't complete the grab. Frampton mops up in defence with Josh Dacos. Hand pass was speculative, goes out towards Ollie Hollands. He's wrapped up, and the umpire will ball it up. It was a good tackle from Jack Crisp. So a stoppage on the paint of 50 at Carlton's attacking end. The punt right into the MCG. It's the Pies by 14 points, though.
At the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide by 99 points against the Swans. Sam Walsh inside 50, asking the question. Martin, Cherno's there. Akers, end over end. Here come the Blues. Blake Akers in the right place at the right time. And Carlton have kicked the last 4 goals of the match to close within 8 points. Collingwood 12, 11, 83. Carlton 10, 15, 75 at the 21-minute mark of the final term. The Blues with 2 goals in 3 minutes. What was that stat around close finishes between Carlton and Collingwood, Spriggy?
3 of the past 5 by a goal or less.
Against the small players. Who needs tall players, Kez? Seriously.
You're telling me, Berkey.
They just get in the way more often than not. But Blake Akers, that was just a bomb kick. The top of about 20 metres out. Get numbers there if it spills your way. These days, defenders don't follow individuals. What they do is they just get there and think, you know what, my job is to get the ball out of here, not necessarily stop anyone. Blake Akers standing there all by himself, puts it on his boot, dribbles it through empty goal square. So game on, absolutely. These centre bounce clearances, they're vital.
The margin was as high as 32 points early in this final term. Since then, 4 straight goals for Carlton. Here's a clearance as well with Paddy Cripps. Off his left peg, goes inside 50. Half volley pick up down there was awkward for Jack Martin. Towed full by the Collingwood defence and now wrapped up. A strong tackle that time. Cripps on Ned Long. And will ball up again. Centre half forward for the Blues, punt road end. 22 gone, final term. Umpire wastes no time. Both rucks sort of missed it. Coming through again, Kennedy. It was taken by Sidebottom. It comes over Ollie Hollands. He can fire and goal from 40. It's right to the line. It's there! Ollie Hollands with a big-time moment to bring us back to a 2-point ball game. Collingwood leads by 2, but the Blues are red hot at the MCG. What a finish coming up, Nathan Burke, Karen Peterson.
What a moment for the young fella. He had a couple of opportunities early in the game that I'm sure he'd like back, and he missed his target. But for him to stand up in the last quarter, game well and truly on the line, and to be able to finish that's outstanding. But I think it was you, Spriggy, who called the importance of these centre bounce clearances, and once again it was Cripps who got on the end of it. It's up to, what are we looking at, 16-7 inside forward 50s for this last term, and Carlton have got back to their uncontested marks like they did in the first term. It's 22-6 in this 4th term alone, so game on.
Collingwood kicked the first goal of the final term. They led by 32 points. The Blues have kicked the next 5. 3 in 3 minutes to get within 2 points. And here's Captain Cripps once more out in front of Walsh. Knocks it away from Noble. Up to half forward. In front, Josh Dacos can't cleanly dispose of it. Fogarty delays the tackle. It spills away along. He's locked up by Kennedy. It's at the top of the 50 at the punt road end for the Blues, who trail by just 2 and are coming home like a freight train. Jordan Nagoe out of the match. Carlton with just a couple of players on the bench. John Noble at half-back. Hand pass for Collingwood, chopped off by Akers. It spills back to him. Kicks out to the members' wing. Kemp underneath it, lost his footing against Schultz, but he juggles the mark.
The last set of bounce was Ned Long against Paddy Cripps. Yeah, good luck, Ned.
Kemp from that member's side wing. Wheels and goes now. High ball inside 50. Big pack up with a spoil. Howe. It comes out here towards Akers. Traps it just in front of the 50. Off to Owies. Was out of bounds. Umpire said no. A centering ball has been marked by Pitnet.
It was out.
It was out. It was a late call for out of bounds. We'll throw it back in. What a decisive moment that could have been. Collingwood leads here by 2 points. 83 plays 81. 25 gone final quarter.
So much on the line. Collingwood's premiership defence by a thread. Carlton trying to fight for the top four. Pitnet wins down the tap. Cripps puts his head over the footy. Long lays the tackle. They can't extract it, and the umpire will ball it up. 86,879 fans, most who haven't moved from their chair. Thrown up. Cameron and Pitnet spills down the way of Hoskin Elliott. Clears it for Collingwood towards the boundary line. Cox races after it. McGovern gets there first. It goes out of play off hands in front of the Carlton bench. Charlie Curnow back onto the field. Collingwood leading by 2 points.
Wiedering, McGovern, Kemp, these guys have done a really good job this quarter of just building that wall across the middle of the ground, making it really tough for Collingwood to get the ball down to their end.
Back in it comes. Pitnet lays it down for Walsh. Got a bump there from Nick Dacos. Picked up by Hewitt. The Blues win it away. High ball inside 50 again. Moore coming up with Curnow. At the drop there, Schultz there for the Pies. Just thumps it back towards that southern wing of the MCG. 2 on 2. One down towards Bobby Hill. The Pies thrust it forward now towards half forward. It missed Jamie Elliott and also missed Sard. Elliott's there, hacks it out of the air towards goal. It's across the face for a minor score. He improves their lead by only one. 12-12-84 Collingwood. Carlton 11-15-81. 26 gone. Final term ABC Sport.
A little over 4 minutes to go. As the Blues through McGovern back into play. Wiedering takes the mark. Kicks up to Sam Walsh at right half back. Around the Shane Warne stand side. Kicks to Newman. Darcy Moore in from the side. Makes the spoil. Quaynor sees it go out of play in front of Ollie Hollands. And a throw in. Centre of the Shane Warne stand wing. It's Collingwood fans who are waving their flags. Scott Pendlebury's 400th match becomes the 6th player to do so. And Nick Newman's a little slow to rise. The umpire just pauses for a moment to allow the trainer to come out. As he was cannoned into by Darcy Moore. Collingwood by 3 points, trying to desperately hold on. The Blues are the last 5 goals of the match. Pitnet wins down the tap. Cripps can't take it. Sliding in Nick Dacos. He can't take it either. And Kennedy is locked up by John Noble.
27 gone. Final quarter of the packed MCG. Cameron wins it to the outside. All by himself there is Newman. Shares it out to Kennedy. Kennedy just paddles it towards the boundary line, keeps it alive now, the Carlton sub, towards half forward. Moore in the contest down there with Martin, mopped up by Frampton, back to his skipper, Darcy walking clear, hurriedly towards the outer side.
A high ball, Scott Pendlebury underneath it, competes against Pitnet, who got a shove, and the Carlton ruckman receives the ball back. He pinches it from Scott Pendlebury. Blues trail by 3. The Carlton ruckman up towards half forward. Mackay reaches up and takes the mark. Is this his moment? Just the 1 goal so far tonight. Charlie Curnow's been held goalless. He's 65 metres out, Big H. He veers out to the left. He pokes his kick towards the teeth of goal. Blake Acres sets himself. Moore spiles it down. Crisp knocks it out for Collingwood. Kemp can't take it cleanly. Jack Crisp is in there. He's locked up 40 metres out from Carlton's goal. Collingwood hanging on to a 3-point lead. 27 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Up it goes. Rucks go at it. 1 down towards Cripps. In the back of him was Pendlebury. Umpire says we'll ball up again. 3 points the margin Collingwood's favour in these dying stages. Stoppage inside 50 here for Carlton punt road end. Crisp just bowls his way through. Hoskin Elliott's kick was partly smothered. Nick Dacos with a clearing hand pass to the outside there. Almost there for Schultz. He snaps. McGovern dives in. He can't quite mark. Still alive here for Ollie Hollands. He just thumps it back inside 50 here for the Blues. Big pack mark there. It's a spoil from Jeremy Howe. At the drop, Noble. Off to Crisp there. He was run down. Great chase and tackle it was by Fogarty. And he is rewarded. Lockie Fogarty at centre-half forward, 70 from goal. Needs a neat entry here. Pops into the hot spot for the Blues. Up they go. It's mostly Collingwood defenders. Hoskin Elliott mops up, shares it with Sidebottom, who can clear the area for Collingwood.
Long kick up to the Shane Warne stand side. Hill in front. Chincotta careful not to give away the free kick. They scrap it ground level. Nick Newman can't get there in time as it goes out of play. 20-8 the inside 50s Carlton's way in the final term. The Blues have kicked 5 goals to 1, but they still trail by 3 points. Bruce and Lisa, Scott Pendlebury's mum and dad, are in the race. They don't know if their son's going to be a winner or a loser in game 400. Collingwood by 3 points. Thrown in. Cameron wins down the tap against Pitnet, and Cripps can't take it. The Carlton captain frustrated as it trickles out of play on the Shane Warne stand wing.
Collingwood haven't got any spare players back in defence. Scotty Pendlebury has parked himself back in defence. He's the only spare.
Ticking towards the half-hour mark now in this final term. Cameron's kick smothered out of the ruck. Ricochets towards Lipinski, competing with Newman. Towed forward back to Wiedering. And now Walsh back to Sard. They might switch here off half-back the Blues. He retreats inside D50 with McGovern. McGovern stands strong, angled kick, goes wide again, back to the flank where it's with Newman. He plays on now. Needs an option up the outer side. Hewitt, sitting in the back of him was Nick Dacos. Free kick for a push. We've ticked past the half-hour mark. Pies by 3. Carlton ball on the wing.
Comes inboard to Nick Newman, who gets it from Hewitt, drives it inside 50. They need a mark. Jack Martin in the pack, can't mark. Frampton's there for Collingwood. To Pendlebury, gets a hand pass away and game 400. Knocked out by Howe. Good hand pass away as the Pies link at half-back. Lipinski to Nick Dacos, out to Elliott. Shaymorn stands side. He has no one in front of him, and he's happy for it to go out of play. Probably did that rather well, given he just deliberately fumbled it over the boundary line and the umpire says throw it in. Benefit of the doubt for sure. Collingwood hanging on to a 3-point lead. The Blues had 5 goals to 1 in the final term.
The Carlton goal will put the dagger in Collingwood's premiership defence. Ball back in on the outer wing. Cripps sends them forward. High ball up inside forward 50. Howard the spoil. Left behind by Mackay. Pendlebury hand pass to his fellow veteran Sidebottom. Back to Quaynor. Back to Pendlebury. From left half back. A chain of hand passes now with Nick Dacos. So straight out of play by Patrick Cripps. And will throw it back in again. In these dying seconds. Under a minute left. Stoppage at right half forward for the Blues, who trail by 3 points.
But take a risk, got to get on the move at this stoppage here, can't afford to lose it.
We saw it down in Geelong earlier. Here we go, the MCG. Pitnet out of the ruck against Cameron. Inside 50, McGovern! Down low, takes the mark. Mitch McGovern somehow pushed forward, found himself uncontested, and Lockie Schultz tried to dive late. And both players are down on the turf, and Mitch McGovern is lying back down and slowly now gets to his feet.
He got he slid into Schultz. Oh, that's a siren.
The full-time siren has sounded. Mitch McGovern will have a shot after the siren to win the game for the Blues. 45 metres out, slightly right of centre. Scott Pendlebury can do nothing but watch in game 400. Now the umpire comes behind him to make sure he can't move off his mark. Mason Cox goes and stands the mark. The tallest player on the field.
Kez, you've seen him at training. What's he like, having a shot?
Yeah, I'm backing him in.
Mitch McGovern, slightly right of centre, kicking from 45 metres out. The final kick of the match in front of 86,000 at the MCG. For the walk-off winner, McGovern starts his approach, comes in, it's a high kick and it's there, no! Misses to the right-hand side, misses everything, out of bounds on the full. The moment goes begging and Collingwood celebrate everywhere as Scott Pendlebury is a winner in game 400. Mitch McGovern fails to score and Collingwood win by 3 points.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
It can be a cruel game sometimes as Mitch McGovern sets shot on goal. The Collingwood players realised it was offline in animated celebration, and it was them who was rejoicing. The Pendlebury's in the race. They're a winner in Scott Pendlebury's 400th match, and Collingwood's premiership defence is still alive by the smallest of margins, 12-12-84 to Carlton 11-15-81. The Pies hang on by 3 points.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cake.
would remain in 10th spot on the AFL ladder, but they're just one win outside the top 8. While for the Blues, with victory, they could have jumped to third on the ladder with Port Adelaide's big win. Instead, they slide to 7th. And Collingwood have now won 5 of their last 6 against the Blues. And Carlton all of a sudden are on the slide, having lost 4 of their last 5. Collingwood winners by 3 points, as a lot of the Carlton players get to Mitch McGovern, having missed his shot after the siren. We're all trying to find the words. Karen Peterson, Nathan Burke, you guys have a go.
Well, Kez is shattered.
I can't. I've got nothing. Sorry.
Kez is shattered. Carlton, credit to Carlton. They were 5 goals down, got 32 points down in that last quarter, but they kept plugging away, and it wasn't pretty. It was just bang, get the ball forward, get numbers inside 50. Get numbers around the contest and just make something happen out of nothing. That's what they did, and they got themselves back into this game. 32-8 were the marks in that last quarter in favour of the Blues, and inside 50s 24-8. So from Craig McRae, I'm saying, hey, you guys, I think you got a little bit ahead of yourselves. Once you hit that 30-point mark in front, we stopped playing defence. We just thought we'd going to roll over these Blues and have a good handy win. It doesn't work like that in modern day football. Sides can come back from quite big deficits down very, very quickly. So in terms of a neutral supporter, this is great things for the season. Keeps the Pies alive. The Blues, they could drop 5 spots after this.
Let's bring you some of Scott Pendlebury.
To be honest, this whole week has just been, I felt the love from all angles. Everybody's been so nice and kind with their messages to me and my family, and it means the world to play with this jumper on my back every week and in front of these fans. It's surreal.
It's a pretty exclusive club, just the 6th player in the history of this great game to the milestone. What's the secret behind this level of longevity?
I'm not sure. A lot of luck goes my way. I've had some great coaches, great support networks around me. You don't get here by yourself, and the amount of people that have helped me, taken time out of their lives to make my journey really special. I've touched base with a lot of those people. A lot of those people are here tonight. The whole football club. I've got a basketball background, if people didn't know, and a lot of those coaches have really helped me out.
To the Collingwood Football Club, you're home for the last 19 years. 2 premierships, a Norm Smith medal, 6 All-Australian Blazers, 5 Copelands, just to list off a few. But how much does this place mean to you?
Oh, it's my home. I've spent 19 years here. It's all I know, really, that in school. And, listen to this joint now. This is every kid's dream, is to play in front of this crowd. And this chant is just unbelievable. And I think what keeps me going is I've just had so much fun, and I still have fun. I still love the game. And, to get the result tonight was fantastic.
You're a wonderful family man. You ran out with Jax through the banner. Darcy didn't quite get there, but Alex, your mum, your dad, your brothers, how crucial has that support been for you as well?
Oh, yeah, Alex and the kids have been amazing for me. My mum and dad, my brothers, everyone's just helped me so much along my journey. And it's players of both sides would understand how much their family and support networks mean, and they've been absolutely unbelievable. And I don't know if they got it on camera, but Jack's run through to kick a goal and booted Crispy straight in the head with a footy pre-game, so it wasn't ideal for Crispy.
And just quickly before we let you go, the boys are ready to cheer you off, but you signed on next year, your 20th season. Have you got Boomer Harvey's record in sight?
I've got tomorrow in sight, and trying to wake up not feeling like I've been hit by a truck and just enjoying it for what it is. And tonight was a really important game in our season, keeps us alive. And as I said, I'm not worried about next year, I'm worried about next week, and most importantly, waking up feeling okay tomorrow.
Soak it up. We've loved watching your journey. A very big congratulations to you.
Abby Holmes, courtesy of Channel 7, as the interview is taken on the big screen here at the MCG. And Scott Pendlebury in game 400 becomes the 6th player to achieve the milestone. Turns to all the Collingwood fans at the MCG at the city end and now towards the punt road end, and eventually he's lifted onto the shoulders of Jeremy Howe and Steele Sidebottom. Carlton stand on the right-hand side, Collingwood on the left. The Blues players must be heartbroken, but they're doing the right thing, respecting Scott Pendlebury as he slowly gets chaired from the MCG. And not too many of the fans here, the 86,000 at the MCG, have moved. As Scott Pendlebury, a two-time premiership player now, a word of thanks to Patrick Cripps and the Carlton players for doing their part. And he will leave the MCG a winner. Collingwood by 3 points. Don't think I did too much of the housekeeping. 12-84 to the Blues, 11-15-81. For the winners, 2 goals to Jordan De Goey, 2 goals to Will Hoskin-Elliott and 2 goals to Mason Cox. Individuals to Elliott, Schultz, McStay, Hill, Crisp and Nick Dacos. While for the Blues, 2 goals to Elijah Hollins and Jack Martin. Lockie Fogarty with 2 goals. Individuals to Ollie Hollins, Patrick Cripps, Mackay and Owies. The Blues go down by 3 points. Collingwood's premiership defence is still alive. And Berkey, we always talk about the great moments when you kick a goal to win the game for your side. The part we don't talk about is when it doesn't go according to plan and you shank a high kick out to the right and it's out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, he just never really looked confident. When he took the mark, he slid in and his head collided with Schultz's knee shin area, stayed down for a second or two, but when he got back up, just the body language, it just didn't look confident, and the run-in didn't look strong and assertive, and the result was out on the full. And thank goodness in my career I never had that opportunity, because who knows what I would have done with it, but I avoided that situation completely. But well done to the Blues.
As soon as it left his boot, the Collingwood players were celebrating. So it was pretty apparent from their reaction that it wasn't going anywhere near it.
Yeah, it's something he's got to live with now. Hopefully sometimes you get a chance to redeem yourself in later games, and sometimes you don't, and you live with that for the rest of your life. But at least it wasn't a final. But let's hope for the Carlton supporters and for the wonderful person sitting next to me that that doesn't really put a dent in Carlton seasons, because now they're back with the pack. They're in amongst the fighting for survival.
Social media people quick with the Sticks Kernahan reference. The Blues kicking 5 goals to 1 in the final term, but falling agonisingly short after Mitch McGovern missed his shot after the siren. Collingwood winners by 3 points. Let's join them with Rory Campbell.
It's a big event, a big occasion, and you'd think a big celebration, all for Scott Pendlebury. They've got special jumpers on in honour of his big moment, SP400 on their chest, and you'd think this will be a rousing rendition of the Collingwood song.
With Pendles.
Collingwood winners by 3 points, as Scott Pendlebury's just saying something with the team still in a huddle, but we can't quite pick that up on our radio mic with his son Jackson, daughter Darcy there side by side, and that can be a bit intimidating, the team song with Steele Sidebottom getting the group in a hush before he eventually erupts. Collingwood winners by 3 points, and for Scott Pendlebury it's a milestone win, and for Collingwood it keeps their season alive. So the potential that, depending on what happens with Hawthorn and GWS tomorrow, this wacky season that, what is it, a fortnight's time, the Blues and the Hawks here at the MCG on a Sunday.
So we'll discuss it all as we go later on, but do you put a line through, I guess, Melbourne now off the back of last night? There was the potential, if the Pies lost tonight, that they get a line through them as well, but they stay alive. Essendon's massive tomorrow against Fremantle, not just for the Bombers, but also for the Dockers, who, given that big win for Port over Sydney tonight, they jump 7 percentage points, Port Adelaide. So they're in the frame now. They're sitting second as it currently stands. Freo can take it back from them tomorrow. It's just extraordinary. But you'd think the Bombers lose tomorrow, you've got 10 teams, ranging from Sydney first, who are the most out-of-form team in the competition, Collingwood 10th, and those two sides actually meet next week on Friday night. So yeah, you'd think 1 to 10 is about where you put your bracket.
And if Brisbane beats St Kilda, they'll jump above Port Adelaide to second on the ladder. But, Port Adelaide, we haven't mentioned that. A 112-point victory over the Sydney Swans, who at one stage were 3 games clear on top of the AFL ladder. They are now just half a game clear. 22-16, 148 the Power to Sydney 5-6-36. The Power put on the opening 71 points before Sydney even scored in front of 37,000 at the Adelaide Oval. 4 goals to Mitch Georgiades, 4 goals to Willie Rioli, 3 goals to Charlie Dixon. And the Swans all of a sudden have lost their mojo.
5 of their past 6, the Sydney Swans. So, yeah, we'll discuss all that as we go. We'll obviously get into the Pies rooms again for some winning reactions shortly. But we talk about that last kick of the game and how it all went wrong for Mitch McGovern. But let's be honest, Kez, they kicked 8 behinds in that first quarter, and that's obviously come back to cost them as well.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because they'll go into the review, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, and everyone externally will talk about how they let the game slip out of their fingers with the last-ditch attempt at goal, and internally all they'll say is there were so many moments that led up to that. It's never one moment that cost people a game, but as Berkey's already highlighted, I can guarantee the only thing that Mitch McGovern's thinking about right now is the opportunity that he had at the end of the game, and no matter how many coaching staff or his players or his family or his friends who text him after the game, that's all he's going to be thinking about. So, yeah, it's a really it takes a really special player in that circumstance to go back and to nail it because of the nerves and obviously how much is riding on that one moment. And some people really love it, and some people, I can guarantee, if it was Jack Ginnivan out there, like, he would just absolutely relish in that opportunity. But I reckon if you asked every player in the AFL or the AFLW, do you want that moment? Most of them would say yes, but secretly go, oh, God, I don't know if I do, because, the result of it is, if it goes well for you, you're an absolute hero. And if you miss, you're the one who is probably the most harshest critic on yourself because, it's just there's so much riding on it. And you've already mentioned, Spriggy, kind of what the implications of this game are and what the next games are, and even the one that was over in Adelaide tonight, and just how much is riding on that moment. I really feel for him because he won't be going to sleep tonight, I don't reckon.
All of a sudden, Sydney at the SCG hosting Collingwood adds extra significance. They do have Brisbane and Melbourne in the next 2 weeks after that, so they probably need to win all 3 to get into September, but it keeps it alive. The telling blow was Jordan Ngoe, unfortunately, looked to be a left hamstring injury for him, so he mightn't feature, and that's always the risk when you're the coach, isn't it? Whether you bring him back after that groin injury, maybe just a little underdone, wanting to play in Scott Pendlebury's milestone game. He spoke at the start of the week about what a big influence he's been on his career, and the Blues are, as well, are walking a bit wounded with Adam Chera, a soft tissue injury as well. Matt Cottrell, unfortunately, couldn't finish the match, and Charlie Curnow goalless for the first time since round 2 2022.
Are you tipping against them? Like, Sydney away next week would have been a formidable task, but given where Sydney are at and where Collingwood, like how they played tonight, they haven't played like that in the last, well, certainly in the last month since I've been paying attention. But then they've got Brisbane here back at the MCG. I find it hard to tip against them at the MCG, and then they rounded out with Melbourne here at the MCG as well. I'm not sure you'd be brave enough to tip against them at the moment. Anyone in the room?
I don't know if they start favourites against the Swans next week, but I'm not tipping the Swans, put it that way. I'm not backing them. It's a fascinating last few weeks.
I feel like they're a bit like a mate's old car that has the tiniest bit of petrol left in it, and they're just trying to get to finals. So, yeah, maybe if they can get some players back, but they are still in the fight.
I was at an event with Nick Maxwell before the game tonight, and he was talking about the difference between thinking that you can win and knowing that you can win. And Collingwood have proved in the last 18 months that they know how to win, and they know in the big moments that their team can get over the line. The Swans haven't had that recent success like what Collingwood have, and I don't know, maybe we're seeing a result tonight with Carlton, who think they can get over the line, but they don't know it, and Collingwood do.
So the Magpies win us by 3 points in Scott Pendlebury's 400th match. 12-12-84 to Carlton 11-15-81. While it was the Sydney Swans who went down to Port Adelaide by 112 points. 22-16, 148 to the Swans 5-6-36 in front of 37,000 at the Adelaide Oval. We're about to go down to the Collingwood rooms, so just bear with us for about 70 seconds, because we are farewelling some listeners who are heading to the Olympic coverage from Paris. There's some great news with a gold medal for Australia in the men's doubles. So Matthew Ebden and John Pearce,
yep,
wins the gold medal from an Australian point of view. So a great storyline with Alex de Minaur unfortunately suffering the injury in the lead up to Paris. So our Olympics coverage continues for those regional listeners who will get it.
And we beat the Americans, which is always nice, with the medal tally sort of being a bit skewed. They sort of have their own method of deciding who's on top, and we've got more golds than the USA, which is fantastic. By the way, here, doesn't quite sound as special, but it was the 5th highest home and away crowd for a Collingwood Carlton game. So we weren't quite up there as far as the top handful of games all time, but 86,879 the crowd tonight.
Also today, North Melbourne winners by 13 points over the Tigers to move off, they're a game clear of the bottom of the ladder, and Geelong 5-point winners over the Adelaide Crows after Josh Rochelle gold. With 24 seconds remaining, the Cats hang on, with Jeremy Cameron getting the 3 votes for his 6 goals in the ABC Footballer of the Year. For those listeners who are off to the Olympics, we bid you farewell from the MCG. Collingwood winners by 3 points. And for everyone else, we continue on. A big thanks to Rory Campbell and Jeremy Howe down in the Collingwood rooms. So just hanging on a moment or so, let's take you down to the Magpies rooms.
Jeremy, it was a big occasion tonight. It was tight. What did it feel like? What was the emotion at the end when that kick sprayed off Mitch McGovern's boot?
Oh, genuine elation from the get-go. I was pretty worried that Mitch is a hell of a kick, and he's actually done it to us to square a game when he used to be at Adelaide as well. And I was a bit nervous, but high emotion after the game and such relief because, it's a very important week, but you just wanted to be able to cheer our greatest champion off after a win, and we just got there.
You've played a lot of footy with him. You're wearing SP 400 on your chest. Tell us what's he meant to you for your footballing career.
He's been profound in terms of the way that I see the game, the way he helps me being educated. His IQ is second to none. I know people talk about it, but it's the way that he gets the other people to learn the game, see the game. He's always there with the young guys doing vision. So we're so lucky to have him. What he means to me, it's like I just feel like I'm so grateful to be able to share a small part of his journey. 400 games is a massive one, so I've only been there for a small part, but very lucky, very grateful, and what a way to cheer him off today.
It was a fair bit of emotion in here post-game. How do you think he's taken in the week?
Yeah, people talking about him actually makes him uncomfortable, although he's been spoken about a fair bit over 19 years. I just think it was a pretty overwhelming week. So many messages and being celebrated all week, which you wouldn't want it any other way. It's been a really good week to be able to celebrate our champion, and I think he's pretty stoked that the game's finished now, and we got on the right side of it, and I'm sure he'll sleep well tonight.
I'll throw it to the team upstairs. We've got Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg, Nathan Burke and Karen Peterson.
Jeremy, Nathan Burke here, mate. Congratulations. Have you got another 152 in you just to catch up?
I actually said, I was joking about it during the week because I could not think of how bad my body would feel after another 150 games. I was like, it's remarkable. And we always joke about him. He avoids the contested ball at training these days, but if you're number one, he always reminds us, so he's number one for disposals, but also number one in the comp for tackles. So he does the hard stuff as well.
What sort of licence does he get during the week to sort of run his own race?
Whatever he wants. I think, to his credit, he's always... you wouldn't be able to tell if he's got any niggles during the week. He's always working so hard to recover, and very rarely to miss training at all. And I think his continuity, it's not just game day, it's on the track as well. And you just marvel at him because he just does it and turns up every week.
And on the game tonight, the first quarter, they seem to have a lot of uncontested marks, and then you managed to shut that down for 2 quarters, and then in the last quarter, they got on top with those uncontested marks again. Was that a bit of a focus for you guys to try and shut that down as much as possible?
Yeah, we weren't too sure that's how they were going to play, especially early, but it was obviously a clear tactic. And they probably managed the game a little bit better than us, especially early. I thought, our second and third quarter was really good. Managed to get into a high-pressure game. It's quite transitional, which was we felt like it kind of suited us. And then again in the last quarter, to their credit, I think we got to 33 points or 32 points up, and they managed to bang 5 in a row and really put us on the back foot. And one of those ones where you just, stoked that you finish on the right side of.
Jeremy, it's Karen Peterson up here. Congratulations on the win tonight. Wanted to just talk about maybe the last 7 weeks. I think I'm right in saying this is the second win you've had in 7 weeks. How does that play out at Clubland, during training, during the weeks? Does it change the conversation between the coaching staff and the players? You're 3 weeks out from a potential final series. You lose tonight, you're probably not playing finals. Do things change internally, or is it pretty much business as usual?
I look at it as a 2-week block now, so we haven't lost for 2 weeks. But yeah, look, I think every game just became more and more important as we're going along. Clearly, we had that month stretch where we didn't win a game, and our form was really patchy. And unfortunately, patchy form's not good enough to win. So we stripped it back in terms of our tactics and really pulled it back and tried to execute our fundamentals more often than not, and get the contest right. Sharpened up a little bit of method around that, and we felt like it's worked for us the last 2 weeks, and we're under no illusion we have to keep getting better.
And the momentum swings tonight as well. Collingwood's become known as a team that can get over the line in close ones. We've seen that over the last probably 18 months, 2 years from you guys. Talk to me about the belief that's within that group, that when it gets tight, games on the line, you guys just seem to be able to rise to another level that no other team can get to.
Yeah, I guess for us, we keep coming back to, when the game's at its most hectic or higher pressure, we feel like that's when we become the most clear. Understand what we need to do, whether we're chasing or we're trying to prevent the oppo from scoring. It becomes really evident on what guys need to do. There's certain tactics that we certainly employ, and yeah, to the boys' credit, they rock up and do their job, both sides of the ball, and it's a real strength of ours. It'd be nice to not always be in nail biters, but when you are, especially when you're getting towards the back end of the year, it's really crucial.
Have you ever kicked for a goal after the siren?
No, I just said in the change rooms, I don't think I want one either.
It's funny you say that. I was up here trying to articulate that there'd be many players in the competition, I reckon, that would go, yeah, I want that opportunity, but deep down they're going, nah, not for me. Are you one of those blokes?
Nah, and I was just having a chat to Jamie Elliott in the change room. He goes, some people want it, some don't. Not one that wants it. So I was like, you can have it.
Jeremy Howe with us in the Collingwood rooms on ABC Sport. Jeremy, it's Brett Sprague here. You had 3 premiership players come back in tonight. So Bo McCreary, Jordan De Goey, Billy Frampton. Obviously, Geordie kicked a couple of goals and had the hamstring injury, but and this club is far bigger than just those 22 remaining guys from last year's GF. But to have those guys come back in, how significant was that?
Yeah, and they made significant impacts, no doubt. I think Geordie's ball use, especially centre forward, the power that he presents, he's working, and like the ball coming through, especially with him in the forward half, is a real strength of his. Unfortunately, it looks like he's done a significant hamstring injury. But then Bo McCreary, I'd chuck him up there as arguably one of our most important players. I think the heat that he puts the opposition on is immense, and it's great watching, sitting behind the ball, just watching him chase around. He's like a dog at a butcher shop. He just literally goes as hard as he can for as long as he can. And who was our other inclusion? Chuka.
Billy Frampton, yeah.
Billy Frampton. So, yeah, I thought that we just came in. We had really good matchups for both Darcy and Billy, and those guys were massive in their jobs.
The final quarter, Jeremy, 24-8 inside 50s. What's it like when you're trying to hold the damn wall up? And you mentioned the last kick for Mitch McGovern. So Mark Pitneck just hacks a kick forward. It lands in the lap of Mitch McGovern. Where are you at that moment, and what's running through your mind?
I was about probably 15 out. I think I was roughly next to Jack Martin maybe. And, yeah, those quick kicks, it's a 50-50 really. You either get one or they do, and we've been on that side of it as well. I was pretty nervous. I thought I was having flashbacks to 2022, and I was like, geez, maybe it's going to bite us on the backside here, and they're going to do it to us and knock us out. But yeah, look, we celebrated accordingly, I think, for Scott. But you got to feel for Mitch as well.
I don't know if you've heard the latest either, but Sydney lost to Port Adelaide by 112 points. That's your next opponent. So the season's alive. You've got to keep winning to get there to September.
Yeah, beautiful. They'll come out breathing fire, won't they?
And the milestone game for you next week, Jeremy, your 250th?
Yeah, looking forward to it. So one to celebrate with the fam. Think about every milestone in every ground apart from the MCG. So just another one.
Always great to catch up. Thanks so much for your time, Jeremy, and enjoy the win tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeremy Howe joining us from the victorious Collingwood Rooms, winners by 3 points over Carlton after Mitch McGovern's shot after the siren missed to the right-hand side, out of bounds on the full.
It is the DNA of that team, as you say, Kez, and they have had opportunities, even probably with the exception of the Hawthorn game, 66-point loss, even against Gold Coast, Essendon and Geelong since the bye, games they could have been involved in and lost by sort of 20 points or less. So once they rediscover that, I fear for the Swans next week what these Magpies could do. The sight of that 2022 prelim, which Jeremy just mentioned a couple of years ago, 2022, but of course their season ended at the hands of the Swans at the SCG. That's a massive game next Friday, and they could roll on really the Pies and who knows, certainly defend the premiership from outside the top four, because that's what modern footy allows you to do.
Look, nothing like that at the start, did it? Not the start of the game, but in terms of the season, they had a shocking start, but they're like cockroaches that just won't die, Collingwood. They just hang around, give themselves an opportunity. They tease their supporters this season with, are they going to get back? Are they not? And then here they are.
Jeremy's sort of like our team doctor. He sort of confirms injury news. He did it a couple of weeks ago, didn't he, with somebody else in a post-game interview.
Brody Myercheck.
And now he said significant hamstring for Jordan De Goey. That was Jeremy Howe's word, significant.
The media team might get in his ear this week, I reckon.
I guess also as well, anything significant with 3 weeks left in the home and away season, it does become more significant, doesn't it?
I guess the Collingwood DNA has been to come from behind to win. It feels like last year they were fighting for the minor premiership. Now they're fighting to try and get to finals. But I guess that the confidence and belief of the group, having been there before, as we said, Kez, it's one of those seasons that is so even that if anyone can find form for the next 3 weeks, it's probably going to put you at the top of the conversation with so many sides faltering at this stage. So will Collingwood just revert to that? If we can take it as Jeremy Howe said, I'm no longer looking at the last 7 weeks. I'm just looking at now a 4-week block. We've won the first week. We've got 3 to go.
I'd say winning form at the moment is the best form that you can find. I don't think they'd care how they got there, and I'm sure there's plenty that they'll go away and review on the back of tonight's game and go, geez, we were ordinary there, or we were, okay there, but geez, we've got some work to do leading into Sydney next week and the games that follow. But I think for Collingwood and their supporters, I think all they need is just to be at the start line of finals, and if they can be at the start line, which it's certainly no guarantee at the moment, but they've done themselves a big favour tonight by getting over the top of Carlton. They're in it. They're going to be right there, and I still don't reckon that any team is going to come across them. Probably the Bulldogs are the other team at the moment that are floating around in that top 8, conversation that I don't reckon any team's going to want to play come finals. Could you imagine first final if they got to play it here or wherever they end up playing it? I just don't reckon there's going to be any team that go, I'll take Collingwood in the first week of finals.
Of the ones outside, so Footscray just snuck in after last night. Hawthorn, we'll probably find out about them this weekend playing a good
Giants,
team. Essendon, has that just been a slump, or are they going to get back to some good form? We'll find out about them. Melbourne, we know they're done, so it could be Collingwood and the Bulldogs as the two outside that are the biggest threats, but hopefully the Hawks and the Bombers might sort of find some form and keep this intriguing season alive.
The Blues had a funny night. At stages, they just looked like they couldn't capitalise. They were dealing with injuries in the middle of the match. Then in that last quarter, it just seemed to click, and we mentioned the inside 50s, 24-8. Collingwood knew what was happening. They were just desperately defending for their life. They knew the ball was going long to the goal square. Carlton were able to trigger a little surge. I think it was 3 goals in 3 minutes that sort of got them back within 2 points. So knowing a bit of the inner sanctum of the Blues, Kez, how would Michael Voss try and be pretty realist about what happened tonight, but lift the spirits knowing that their season is still very much in their own hands?
Yeah, look, you've got to be building confidence, and even if it's manufactured confidence at the moment within the group, they'll be pretty flat after tonight, I'd imagine, so they'll take a couple of days to lick their wounds and get themselves up ready for next week. It's far from over, obviously. The injuries tonight are going to be really interesting to see how they play out. The Cottrell one is obviously very interesting. He's so important for them in terms of, their structure with that wing pattern that he runs. He doesn't get a lot of stats. He sometimes bobs up and kicks a couple of goals, but what he does is so well celebrated internally. He allows the defenders to play really aggressively up the ground because they know that they've got him coming back in behind. So that'll be significant if he's unable to get up. Obviously, I think we haven't mentioned tonight the absence of Tom de Koning, and I think tonight we saw Harry Mackay, we saw Cripps obviously at different stages playing through the ruck, but I think someone like him would have shown him a different look, and unfortunately he's not going to be there until hopefully they make the finals.
Let's head down to Rory Campbell, who's made his way to the Blues rooms.
George Hewitt's joined us for a quick chat, guys. George, you guys were coming real hard at the end. What do you take away from that?
Yeah, it would have been a cool game if you're a mutual supporter, but it's a funny one in the wash-up, I think. Our attitude was there all night. They just, took their moments. They probably kicked their goals. I think we kicked 8 points in the first quarter, which sometimes comes back to hurt you. So, we praise God for putting himself in that situation. So it definitely didn't come down to the last minute. It was we had a crack in the last quarter. We just couldn't quite get there.
I just saw Mitch McGovern walking around in the rooms here. He had a smile on his face. Have you guys spoken to him and got around him?
Yeah, it's the game goes for 120, 125 minutes, so it doesn't come down to the last 30 seconds of the game. It comes down to what you do out through the whole game. But he was good enough to put himself in that position. If we want anyone kicking it, would have been Govs. But it was a taxing game, so it would have been some tight legs. So, it was tough.
I'll throw it to the team upstairs. Matt Clinch, Brett Sprigg, Karen Peterson and Nathan Burke.
George, Nathan Burke here, mate. Congratulations on your game, mate. Just looking at the numbers here, 32 touches, 20 contested, 12 clearances, 11 score involvements. Playing the game through the middle of the ground. Are you relishing that opportunity to get in there and just sort of go free for all and get the ball as much as you can?
Yeah, it was, I was trying to take Dacos at stoppages, but at centre bounces, he's you've got to take my hat off to him. The bloke can play. And then, it was. I think we just fought well, but Collingwood were clinical with their movements and their finishing up forward, and I thought that might have been the difference tonight. I don't know what the clearance and tackles number, but it felt pretty even in terms of that. But I don't know, it was probably one of them games when you look back in 10 years' time, you're pretty proud to be a part of that game because it was cool, but right now it hurts a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. The 2 quarters when you guys played well, the first just sort of didn't capitalise, 8 behinds before you managed a late goal. The last quarter, again, both those quarters you really outnumbered the Pies in terms of marks and sort of uncontested marks. Was that one of your strategies tonight of actually use the ball by foot, keep it out of their hands, maintain it that way? Because when you did that was when you looked most dangerous. We definitely trained that this week. Because we've prided ourselves on our contest and defence, we're trying to find another way to maybe, defend, and that's to sort of defend with the ball, changing angles, being composed, and then get it up the field. I think Geelong used to do it very well a couple of years ago, so Brisbane do it really well, and there's always different avenues to play, and we're just trying to nail contest defence, and then if we can use the ball well, take it off the line, that's where we'll try and improve and see where it takes us as well. And tonight it wasn't your big fellas, it was the small fellas who kicked all the goals down there. I know Harry got a couple, I think it was, but it's mainly the small fellas. Holland's got 3 between the brothers, so it must give you confidence to just, at times, if it's not perfect, just to bang the ball in there, and those blokes will go to work and either put forward pressure on or end up with some goals. You're developing 4 or 5 guys down there with Martin and Owies and the guys in Motlop to actually kick some goals for you.
Yeah, I think we saw the difference that Jack Martin makes to the team. He's only 6'2" or 3", but he plays so tall, or never gets outmarked. I think it was a couple on Darcy Moore where he just didn't get outmarked, which is a huge win for us, and we got Foggs, Motts and Owies who clean up on the floor very well, so we just need to give them more of a chance, hopefully get more territory and give them more of a chance and see where it takes us.
George, it's Kez Peterson up here. Unlucky result for us tonight, obviously. I'm not sure if you've been into a meeting with Vossi yet. Can you give us, if you have, what his message was to the group at the end of the night?
Yeah. Hey, Kez, how you on?
Doing well.
Yeah, that's good. He brought us in straight away, and then we had Jack Martin's presentation for his 150th. I don't know, he just said he was so proud that we took it to the last kick of the game. He said, there were moments where they were better than us, but he said he was, like all of us, we were gutted, but he said he was, pretty proud of the way we responded and finished. But, so he said be like everyone, we had two sort of feelings. We sort of played well, but we just couldn't get the win, which hurts.
In the last quarter, we were talking up here, there was 24-8 inside 50s. You must get some confidence knowing that, you're 20 points down roughly in the third term, and the group has the ability to turn it around and give themselves the opportunity to get back into the game and really dominate possession and clearance in that last term. What do you personally take out of that, and what do you think the group takes out of that looking forward to Hawthorn next week? Yeah,
Hawthorn are on fire. I don't know, it feels like we're getting every team when they're in good form, but it's no excuse. But there'll probably be a massive crowd next week. But it's just doing it for long periods of time. Football's a simple game. If you win clearances, win tackles, win territory, the scoreboard usually ticks over. Get it into your good players and they kick goals. So we'll just try and work on that and see where it takes us.
George, tonight as an event was all about Scott Pendlebury, and you guys showed tremendous respect there at the end, which was fantastic. You're up to 175. Could you imagine yourself doing this whole thing 400 times?
I hope so. Yeah, I'd love to, but
there's a reason why it's so rare.
Exactly right. Absolute. He was one of my idols when I was growing up. So, and he still looks and feels young. So plays young. So it's, he could go on for. I don't know. It's just impressive. It's cool.
George, really appreciate you being so generous with your time. Thanks so much. Good luck next week against the Hawks.
Thank you.
George Hewitt, always hard to chat after a loss. Very generous with his time after Collingwood prevailed by 3 points. And the Blues have now lost 4 of their last 5. So I was going to ask to George, but he'd been pretty open. So, how concerning is Carlton's recent form when you look at the losses to Port Adelaide, Collingwood obviously tonight, the sides in which they've lost to the Bulldogs and GWS in recent weeks?
Well, it is concerning. I think there was a stat we brought out a few weeks ago about the run into the finals, that launching pad into the finals. And teams who go deep in September have a really good... They either win 3 out of the 4 or 4 out of the 4 on that run home heading into the finals. I think it's sort of 17 out of the last 20 sort of grand finalists have done that. So you need to hit form at the right time, and they're just paddling along at the moment. They need to find it very, very quickly in the next couple of weeks. And against the Hawks, it's either going to be great for them or it's going to be terrible. No in between, I don't think.
Not to deviate too much from the task at hand, Clinchy, but is Scott Pendlebury the last player to play for? I thought it seemed impossible when we only had Kevin Bartlett and Michael Tuck that had broken that barrier. And then in our lifetime, or in recent years, with Brent Harvey, Dustin Fletcher, Sean Burgoyne, and now Scott Pendlebury, it's hard to see. So the next one's coming up. Travis Boak, who's at 365. I don't think he's going to go around for another couple of years. Tom Hawkins at 360. Wouldn't have thought so. Patrick Dangerfield, Todd Goldstein, who are in the 330s. Steele Sidebottom I mentioned before. It's hard to see where that next 400 game is going to come from, and it just underlines what a rare feat it is. It's just extraordinary. Robert Harvey came close, Berkey, and I thought he was going to be that man, and obviously went very close. It's a rare feat.
It's an incredible feat. Look, you put it into 20 games a year for 20 years. For 20 years, you've got to play 20 games every year for 20 years to get 400. That's just phenomenal. The fact is, it is easier than when KB and Tucky were doing it. Full-time footballers, full-time medical staff, full-time everything else. You manage the works. It's that absolutely helps. You don't have to go to work during the day and then turn up for training, and like KB and Tucky did for the majority of their careers. But having said that, it's still, I don't know how many players have played AFL football, 30,000 or so, and for 6 of them to have done it, I don't know what percentage is that. It's less than 0% or something, I don't know.
While we're on percentages, I did note, so he played his 252nd game at the MCG in those 400. He's played 63% of his 400 here at the MCG, which I'm not trying to get into a whole conversation around fixture equality and all the rest of it, because it was highlighted during the week. He hasn't played a game in Tasmania or Geelong in those 400, which is quite extraordinary, and it speaks to the fact that, Collingwood do play a lot of games here and all the rest of it, but just a side note to the whole thing, but it is a fantastic achievement.
Did you say it was 4 out of 5, or now becomes 5 out of 6 games between Collingwood and Carlton decided by...
4 of the past 6, including tonight.
6, okay.
A goal or less.
So another epic between these two sides, and Carlton fans who are leaving the MCG look forward to when it's on their terms. rooms and they get to sing the song at the end. But Scott Pendlebury tonight is a winner in game 400. The Pies winning by 3 points, 12-12-84 to Carlton 11-15-81. The votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year. Nathan Burke has just got a hand pass.
It just hit me straight in the face, that handball.
It's all right, I've copped a few in the past, so delivered one back.
All right, get the stats back where they should be.
I'll do the tech for you.
You do the tech stuff. I can't do that. You've got to be good for something. I'm going to give one vote to, I think, the man we spoke to, Georgie Hewitt. I thought he was really good for 4 quarters. As I said, 32 touches, 11 score involvements. No one kicked a lot of goals, so I'm not going to go there with the goal kickers. I'm going to give Nick Dacos 2, and I'm going to give Scotty Pendlebury 3. There you go, 27 touches, went at 70%, 460 metres gained. He had 14 contested possessions and 9 clearances. That's a pretty good effort. And I thought in that last quarter he just parked himself in the right spot 3 or 4 times and helped save the day for the Pies.
3 to Scott Pendlebury, 2 to Nick Dacos, 1 to George Hewitt in Collingwood's 3-point win over the Blues at the MCG Saturday night footy. I think we can bring you a word from Michael Voss as he's just sat down for his press conference.
They never gave up. They went to the line. Clearly we gave ourselves the opportunity. So really disappointed in one part, but enormously proud that we're able to fight that game out right to the end when we could have chosen something else. I guess from the last month, that's probably the best footy that we've played for the last month. So we've just got to take that form in the last quarter and lead it into next week and get after our next opponents.
Have you had a chance to speak to Gov and how do you go about getting around him?
I spoke to him after. He's the man in the arena. Like people make calls on, on him being in that situation. But let's take that opportunity again. That's what games are. They're about opportunities, and some you get and some you don't. And but it's not the only one either. I don't think that those particular things come down to one thing. That was an opportunity at the end to finish the game. There was plenty of others throughout the game that we could have stood up on and we didn't, and that's something that we'll more probably turn our attention to.
Michael Voss with his reflections on Collingwood's 3-point win over Carlton, while Port Adelaide big winners by 112 points over the Sydney Swans. That just about wraps it up here at the MCG. Thank you, Spriggy. We'll see you tomorrow for Essendon and Fremantle. Thanks to Kez Peterson and to Nathan Burke, to Jules at the back of the box, to Rory Campbell and to Craig Davis back at the base. The Magpies in Scott Pendlebury's 400th match, winners by 3 points. We'll be on air from midday tomorrow for AFL Sunday with myself and Cameron Ling. And then we do have a special around the ABC AFL Daily podcast before we're at the MCG for the Bombers and the Fremantle Dockers. This crazy 2024 season continues to roll on. What other way could we close? But we'll bring you the final stages, the highlights of tonight's match where Collingwood prevailed by 3 points. Good night.
Nick Dacos searches through, shares it with Crisp. Hand pass wide here again, still going to Schultz. And now inside 50, back to Crisp. Off to Nick Dacos. Can he finish from 30? You bet he can. A snap on the run from Nick Dacos, and the Pies have their second. Hewitt squibs a kick down, back inside forward 50, wide from Mackay, gathering on the bounce, so now he can tumble it towards goal. It's through. That is absolutely superb from Harry Mackay, right on the quarter-time siren. Pendlebury to go, he taps it on again here as well. Martin couldn't gather for Carlton. Loose footy here for Josh Dacos, fires it back to De Goey, who eyes the goals from 40. He's off balance, but the kick's on its way, and it goes through. So De Goey's received the free kick here for Collingwood. He was taken high without the football. A long way from home though, pops it inside, forward 50, spoil from Kemp there on Cameron. Chris Burt's by to the outside of the boot, curls it through. Jack Crisp with a goal. And up again it goes. Cripps in the ruck, done it a few times this year. Snaps quickly out of the stoppage. The Carlton skipper with a captain's goal.
Cox wins down the tap to Pendlebury, hand pass to Jamie Elliott, who fires towards goal. His first of the night. And the Magpies with the all-important first goal of the final term.
High ball inside 50 here for the Blues. Up goes Curnow. Spoil from Darcy Moore. Oh, he's fires the hand pass on the ricochet. Back to Roger Hollands, who goes from the outside of the boot. Superb check side finish from the pocket. Both rucks sort of missed it. Coming through again, Kennedy. It was taken by a side bottom. It comes out of Ollie Hollands. He can fire and goal from 40. It's right to the line. It's there! Ollie Hollands with a big-time moment to bring us back to a 2-point ball game.
Here we go, the MCG. Pitnet out of the ruck against Cameron. Inside 50, McGovern! Down low, takes the mark. Mitch McGovern somehow pushed forward, found himself uncontested, and Lockie Schultz tried to dive late, and both players are down on the turf, and Mitch McGovern is lying back down.
He slid into Schultz. Oh, that's a siren.
The full-time siren has sounded. Mitch McGovern will have a shot after the siren to win the game for the Blues. 45 metres out, slightly right of centre. Scott Pendlebury can do nothing but watch in game 400. Mitch McGovern, slightly right of centre, kicking from 45 metres out. The final kick of the match in front of 86,000 at the MCG. For the walk-off winner, McGovern starts his approach, comes in, it's a high kick and it's there, no! Misses to the right-hand side, misses everything, out of bounds on the full, the moment goes begging, and Collingwood celebrate everywhere as Scott Pendlebury is a winner in game 400. Mitch McGovern fails to score and Collingwood win by 3 points.
Hello, Richard Fidley here. If you enjoy the kind of compelling life stories you hear on Conversations...
There's a crocodile lurking.
And this bomb went off in my head.
Don't cry, why are you crying?
Why not try the new I Was Actually There podcast? Gripping stories told by people who witnessed history with in-depth interviews from the ABC iView series.
The darkness of underground is just black.
I've got someone hiding in my car. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You know your life is never going to be the same again.
Hear your history firsthand with the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of NRL.
Grandstand.
You're listening to Inside Edge with Angela Pulverenti.
Yeah, it's very difficult when you lose.
On ABC Local Radio.
This is the show that takes you inside the hearts and minds of our biggest sporting stars and finds out what drives them to greatness. You'll also get to hear some fascinating insights from some of the very impressive people around them and the music that has soundtracked their remarkable lives. Where do I begin with my next guest? She's the girl from Albury who became an international superstar. She's competed in 4 Olympic Games with the Opals, 2 as captain, and was bestowed the honour of flag bearer at the opening ceremony at London